Chapter 188. Qin Huaiju is a martial mystic expert. After he rushed into the fleet, he was like a fierce tiger rushing down the mountain into a flock of sheep. No one was his match as he crazily slaughtered. In just a few seconds, he killed dozens of people. Furthermore, all of them died without an intact corpse. He is completely like a god of death from hell. Yang Dingtian was instantly enraged. He suddenly took out his youngling sword and soared into the sky. He roared, "Qin Huaiju, your opponent is me." Then, he brandished the enormous sword in his hand and suddenly shot towards Qin Huaiju. Clang! In the sky, Yang Dingtian borrowed the momentum and fiercely chopped down with his sword. Qin Huaiju circulated all the profound energy in his body and raised his sword to meet the attack. A loud sound echoed. Incomparably powerful profound energy suddenly shot out and raised a dozen-meter-tall wave on the sea surface. Yang Dingtian's body suddenly flew backwards, but he did not vomit blood. A one-star martial mystic expert is very strong. However, with his youngling sword, he could no longer cause any serious damage to Yang Dingtian. Because his youngling sword was able to devour a large portion of fire attribute profound energy, the fire attribute energy that entered Yang Dingtian's body through the youngling sword was greatly weakened. Furthermore, after his youngling sword devoured the energy, not only did it not feel any pain, it instead felt a kind of jubilant feeling. Yang Dingtian could even feel its growth at that time. He had once asked his master if other people's youngling swords had the ability to devour damage. His master said no. He said that he had never seen a youngling sword like Acho before. It seems like Yang Dingtian had forged a peerless sword. Furthermore, it was continuously giving Yang Dingtian surprises. After Qin Huaiju received Yang Dingtian's sword, he did not retreat half a step. After all, he is a martial mystic expert. However, he still looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. "Who exactly are you? How do you know my name? Your profound energy is merely at the middle level great mystic martial master. Why are you not injured after receiving my sword? This is impossible." Yang Dingtian sneered, "It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that you're going to die here today." Ha ha ha. Qin Huaiju laughed loudly and said, "You? A great mystic martial master wants to kill me? Dream on. The person who will die today will be you. I will use your head as a urinal to commemorate today's battle." Having said that, a murderous aura burst out from his body as he suddenly flew up tens of meters into the air. Then, he used his powerful momentum to fiercely slash at Yang Dingtian. "Die, in your dreams." Yang Dingtian roared as he fiercely slashed at Qin Huaiju's sharp sword. Clang! There was a deafening explosion. Sparks that were a few meters long appeared. The surrounding seawater suddenly exploded. An incomparably powerful profound chi energy swept out. Yang Dingtian's body trembled violently as he was forcefully pushed into the water. His entire arm felt an intense pain as if it was being torn apart. His chest and abdomen churned, and there was a sweet taste in his throat as he was about to spit out a large mouthful of blood. However, he swallowed it down, even though he knew that it would be even more harmful to his body. However, what he wanted was an incomparably resolute willpower, a strong willpower. Then, he bounced out of the water and shot into the sky like a cannonball. Yang Dingtian laughed loudly and said, "How is it? You can't kill me, right?" Qin Huaiju was completely shocked. Who exactly was this person in front of him? He was merely a great mystic martial master. He was a whole level higher than him, yet he was completely helpless against him. Who exactly was he? Why was he so heaven-defying? "Your profound chi can't kill me. The one who will die now is you." Yang Dingtian laughed loudly. Because he possessed the #1 sword technique in the world, he could completely engage in close combat. His profound chi couldn't harm Qin Huaiju, but his sword could chop off his head. As long as Qin Huaiju's profound chi couldn't kill him, he had nothing to fear. Of course, Qin Huaiju's sword could also chop off Yang Dingtian's head. However, Yang Dingtian possessed the #1 sword technique in the world. If he still couldn't block Qin Huaiju's sword technique, then he could just slit his own throat and commit suicide. Now, let me, a great mystic martial master, trample on you. Yang Dingtian laughed loudly. He waved the huge sword in his hand and fiercely charged over. Clang, 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 in an instant, Yang Dingtian slashed out a few dozen times. Qin Huaiju blocked with all his might. His speed was very fast, so he was still able to block the few dozen strikes. However, he had already fallen into a disadvantageous position. Once Yang Dingtian engaged in close combat with him, he would fall into a passive defensive disadvantage. Pig-slaying sword technique, piercing the throat and letting out blood. Pig-slaying sword technique, disemboweling. Pig-slaying sword technique, chopping off the head. Pig-slaying sword technique, digging out the heart and lungs. Pig-slaying sword technique, cleaning the intestines. Immediately, Yang Dingtian became more and more courageous as the battle progressed. The pig-slaying sword technique in his hand was completely at his whim. There were no fixed moves at all. However, it possessed a frightening destructive power. Qin Huaiju had a shocked expression as he retreated repeatedly. Although he was still blocking with all his might, it was getting more and more strenuous. It was getting more and more dangerous. As for everyone on the ship, they were completely intoxicated by the battle. As Ling Wu looked at Yang Dingtian's incomparably valiant figure, her beautiful eyes were completely intoxicated. Her delicate body trembled violently, as if countless electric currents were striking her body. The contact she had with Yang Dingtian for the past few days instantly replayed in her mind like a movie. Her entire heart trembled as she completely fell for him. Pig-slaying sword technique, chopping off the limbs. Pig-slaying sword technique, scraping the bones and slicing the flesh. Pig-slaying sword technique, stabbing the sword into the chopping board. The more Yang Dingtian fought, the more ferocious and courageous he became. Finally, the change in quantity led to a change in quality. Qin Huaiju staggered. At this moment, I'll kill you at this moment, Yang Dingtian let out a loud shout. Die! Immediately, the enormous sword in his hand slashed down with incomparable ferocity, bringing along a soaring killing intent. Qin Huaiju was horrified. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood as he spat out a mouthful of stone. Heavenly Demon Bloodthirst Technique. Immediately, an incomparably powerful profound energy violently shot out from his body. Like a cannonball, his body was suddenly pushed several dozen meters away. He wanted to dodge Yang Dingtian's shocking sword strike. However, he still couldn't dodge it. Yang Dingtian's sword slashed across fiercely. Immediately, he felt a sudden chill on his face. After that, he felt an intense burning pain. After that, the entire right side of Qin Huaiju's face was completely slashed off by Yang Dingtian. Blood dripped, and the white bones could be seen. Instantly, half of his face was covered with a face, while the other half was covered with a face. Qin Huaiju looked sinister and terrifying, completely like a malicious spirit. Qin Huaiju floated in midair, allowing the blood on his face to drip down. He looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. His eyes were completely bloodthirsty and red. You're very strong. Even though you're only a great mystic martial master, you're the strongest person I've ever seen. Qin Huaiju said coldly. Today, I won't be able to live, but you'll also die. Let's all perish together. After Qin Huaiju roared, his laughter shook the heavens. Then, his entire body suddenly swelled up. Bang! All the skin and flesh on his body suddenly exploded. A bloody mist burst out from the ground. In an instant, his height grew to close to 3 meters. His entire body swelled up, like a demon from hell. The expressions of the people on the Inferno Island ship suddenly changed. Their hearts were filled with boundless fear. They were infinitely worried about Yang Dingtian. Violent demon explosion technique. With a devil-like roar, Qin Huaiju's entire body suddenly exploded with a terrifying energy that soared into the sky and shook the sea. Boom! His surroundings suddenly exploded with huge waves that were 100 meters tall. Heavenly Demon Hellfire. Qin Huaiju's devil-like body suddenly burned fiercely, emitting raging flames that soared into the sky. The blood-red raging flames carried an incomparably terrifying energy. Die! With a furious roar, Qin Huaiju's fiercely burning body suddenly shot towards Yang Dingtian like an incomparably fast cannonball. Because this was a completely suicidal mystic skill that possessed an extremely shocking destructive power, Yang Dingtian couldn't sit and wait for death. His opponent's speed was completely fast to the extreme. Furthermore, he had firmly locked onto Yang Dingtian. He was completely unable to dodge. The further he went, the more astonishing his opponent's energy became. Ah Cho, our life and death trial this time has come. Yang Dingtian tightly grasped Ah Chow's youngling sword in his hand, and suddenly charged towards Qin Huaiju's human nuclear bomb that was charging towards him. Don't! Ling Wu let out a horrified cry. Immediately, it was as if Mars had collided with Earth. Two powerful energies collided with incomparably ferocious. Mother, I'm coming. Your son is coming to accompany you. Qin Huaiju let out an incomparably sorrowful cry. The huge sword in Yang Dingtian's hand fiercely slashed down at the instant of collision. Boom, an explosion that shook the heaven and earth, a blazing light that soared into the sky and covered the sun, and an astonishingly huge wave that overflowed into the sky. Qin Huaiju's body instantly shattered into pieces and turned into countless flames. Like resplendent fireworks, they splashed onto the entire sea surface. Chapter 189. Qin Huaiju's body instantly shattered into pieces and turned into countless flames. Like resplendent fireworks, they splashed onto the surface of the sea. After that, the entire sea became deathly silent. Everyone was incomparably terrified as they waited for the fireworks to disperse. They looked forward to seeing that majestic figure once again and hoped that their hero wouldn't die. The fireworks had dispersed. Everyone could clearly see that Yang Dingtian was still floating in the air. The clothes on his entire body had been completely shattered. His majestic body was completely covered in blood. His eyes were tightly shut, but he was still tightly holding onto that huge sword. His entire body was still bursting with soaring killing intent. This scene would forever be fixed in the hearts of everyone today. It would be impossible to erase it for the rest of their lives. Ah! Ling Wu wailed as she suddenly rushed out. Yang Dingtian was fine. He even woke up very quickly. Even though he was severely injured, Qin Huaiju's final suicidal attack was truly too shocking. It was completely several times more powerful than his usual strength. Ah Chow's youngling sword had helped him to resist the majority of the damage. Yang Dingtian's entire body was drenched in blood, and he was severely injured. Ling Wu rushed over immediately. After that, she carried the badly mutilated Yang Dingtian in her arms and rushed back at lightning speed. After that, she used the fastest time to rush back to Inferno Island. After that, she used the fastest time to place Yang Dingtian into the wooden barrel that was filled with holy water. It was the same barrel of clear water that was used to treat Ling Zhong's injuries. There was a small half bowl of holy water inside. Ling Zhong had planned to use it as a family heirloom to be passed down from generation to generation. Even though the holy water was already extremely thin, Yang Dingtian's injuries weren't as severe as Ling Zhong's. Furthermore, his profound veins were far from what Ling Zhong could compare to. Therefore, he woke up in merely a day. The first thing he saw when he woke up was Ling Wu's deeply affectionate and intoxicated eyes. They were like a lingering net. During the day when Yang Dingtian was unconscious, she had practically never left his side. Her beautiful eyes had always been looking at Yang Dingtian. She couldn't even feel the time. Seeing that Yang Dingtian had woken up, she revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. However, she didn't avoid him in the slightest. Instead, her beautiful eyes became even more affectionate. Yang Dingtian, you lied to me. Ling Wu said in a tender voice. Her voice had completely changed. It had become tender and soft, completely unlike her previous self. Seeing that she actually called out his name, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but be shocked, and then he touched his face. Yesterday, during the final battle, your mask was destroyed. Ling Wu said, your appearance is exactly the same as that evil thief's disguise. This face, I remember it to the bone. It's just that I used to hate her to the core, but now I love her to the core. After hearing her bold and fiery words, Yang Dingtian was speechless for a moment. Don't worry, other than me, no one else has seen your true face. I immediately hugged you, and you were covered in blood at that time. After I carry you to this room, I won't allow anyone to enter, including my father. Ling Wu said, they should be burning with anxiety right now. After that, did you conquer Black Blood Island? Yang Dingtian asked. Yes, it's a piece of cake. Ling Wu said, those brothers of yours from Black Blood Castle were also rescued. However, 4 of them died. After that, our men and your brothers wiped out all the remaining pirates on the island. We rescued hundreds of women and seized countless gold coins and treasures. That's good, that's good. Yang Dingtian said. Your Black Blood Cavalry brothers seem to have received an order to leave in an extremely urgent manner. It seemed like your mother-in-law and Commander Shimen Lai had summoned them urgently. Ling Wu said, however, they still left 4 of them behind to wait for you to wake up. Then let them in. Just put a towel on my face. Yang Dingtian said, after the 4 Black Blood Cavalry brothers entered, they immediately bowed deeply and kowtowed. The Black Blood Cavalry thanks Hero Yen for saving our lives. It's our honor to see Hero Yen wake up. With a towel on his face, Yang Dingtian said, don't mention it. It wasn't that he was pretentious and unwilling to meet his brothers. However, he still had important matters to attend to and couldn't reveal his identity. Originally, we should kneel down and thank you for saving our lives. However, our Black Blood Cavalry had only kneeled to City Lord Shimen Lai. Later on, we only kneeled to young Lord Yang Dingtian. Hero Yen, please don't mind. Yang Dingtian said solemnly, all of you have an indomitable spirit. You don't have to kneel to anyone. Sometimes, kneeling on one knee is also a kind of honor. The Black Blood Cavalry brothers said. Is there anything important that your commander has summoned all of you after his advancement? Yang Dingtian asked, of course, if you mind, you don't have to answer. Our Black Blood Castle is open and above board. There's nothing that we can't tell others. The Black Blood Cavalry brothers said, the Tiando League is about to convene the Northwest Conference. They want to completely pin the crime of being an infiltrator of evil ways on young Lord Yang Dingtian. They want young Lord Yang Dingtian to lose his reputation and be hunted down by the entire world. They want young Lord Yang Dingtian to completely lose the City Lord martial arts contest next year. We weren't able to find the successor of the hidden sect, young Lord Wu Ming. Therefore, Madam Shimen and Commander Shimen have gathered all of our brothers outside. We will be fully armed and kill our way back to Cloud Heaven City. Instantly, Yang Dingtian's heart shuddered violently. This group of bastards, this group of shameless bastards. Shimen Zhu, Yang Yen, Qin Huayu, and Tang Boizhao actually wanted to exterminate Yang Dingtian completely. They wanted him to be condemned by the masses, and even if he grew stronger, he would never be able to make a comeback. Now, the Tiando League's Northwest Conference is completely controlled by scoundrels. If the conference really goes through, our young lord will really become an infiltrator of evil ways and be hunted down by the entire world. Then, my 2,000 Black Blood Cavalry brothers will definitely use our own blood and sharp swords to protect young Lord Yang Dingtian's honor. Don't go. Yang Dingtian almost blurted out the words in his heart, but he held them back. Because they would never listen to him unless he revealed his true identity and used his identity as young Lord Yang Dingtian to command them. But he couldn't. He couldn't let anyone associate Yang Dingtian with the successor of the hidden sect, Wu Ming. Where will the conference be held? When will it be held? Yang Dingtian asked. It will be held in Cloud Heaven City in 5 days. 5 days. This place was close to 6,000 miles away from Cloud Heaven City. It was a long journey, so 5 days was more than enough. He had to use the fastest time to rush back to Cloud Heaven City and stop all of this from happening. No matter if the Tyando League listed him as an infiltrator of evil ways and issued an order to hunt him down, if that was the case, he would never be able to make a comeback. Or the sacrifice of the 2,000 brothers of the Black Blood Cavalry. If this really happened, then they were destined to be Don Quixote rushing towards a windmill, destined to be waves crashing towards a reef. They were destined to be smashed into pieces, destined to sacrifice in vain. Including Shimen Lai and Madame Shimen. Yang Dingtian would never allow any of his relatives or brothers to sacrifice themselves for him and bleed for him in vain. Never. Hero Yen, time is of the essence. We shall take our leave now. We have to rush back and fight alongside our brothers. The brothers of the Black Blood Cavalry said, if we're lucky enough to survive, Hero Yen only needs to write us a letter if you have any errands for us in the future. No matter if it's to shed our blood or to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames, we will not hesitate. Take care. Yang Dingtian said while trembling, also, pass a message to your Madam and Commander Shimen. Don't give up hope. A miracle will happen. Don't sacrifice in vain. Our sacrifice will not be in vain. But we will pass on Hero Yen's message. Goodbye. We wish Hero Yen a speedy recovery. The brothers of the Black Blood Cavalry said one last time. Then, they bowed deeply and left respectfully. Are you leaving? Half a minute later, Ling Wu walked out and asked gently. Yang Dingtian nodded. What about your injuries? Ling Wu asked. I'll be fully healed by tonight. Yang Dingtian said. Then, he stood out from the wooden barrel. Ling Wu found some clothes and gently and meticulously helped Yang Dingtian put them on. Will it be dangerous? Ling Wu asked gently. It shouldn't be too dangerous. Yang Dingtian said. Then, Ling Wu didn't ask any more questions. She just gently tidied up everything for Yang Dingtian. After tidying up, she said to Yang Dingtian, then I'll go and prepare the things for you to leave tomorrow. All right. Yang Dingtian said. After Ling Wu left, Yang Dingtian sat cross-legged on the bed. Then, he poured out half a cup of holy water from his spatial ring and drank it. In just a short moment, his entire body started to heat up. Then, a warm energy started to circulate throughout his body, clearing away the obstructions and deposits brought about by his injuries. Yang Dingtian quickly circulated his profound energy and expelled this warm energy to every part of his body. In just a little over an hour, Yang Dingtian's injuries had already disappeared without a trace. This holy water was indeed tyrannical and powerful. He really didn't know why a secret realm would have such a powerful thing that defied the natural order. He really didn't know what the ancient world was like to actually be able to create such a powerful holy water that could create such a magnificent and mysterious secret realm at the bottom of the sea. At this moment, Chao's youngling sword was right beside him. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but take it over. He inserted a strand of profound energy and waited for its response. This was the intimate communication that Yang Dingtian had to do with it every day. Every time, the primal chaos divine sense in Ah Chao's youngling sword would jump up and respond. Moreover, it would be more and more enthusiastic every time. However, Chao's youngling sword actually didn't have the slightest reaction after he inserted it this time. Yang Dingtian was immediately shocked. Could something have happened to Ah Chao? Please don't. Ah Chao's youngling sword is completely his lifeblood now. He inserted profound energy again, but there was still no reaction. Yang Dingtian was immediately greatly shocked. Yesterday at the sea, Ah Chao's youngling sword had helped Yang Dingtian take the majority of the damage from the flames. In the past, every time it swallowed the fire energy, it would be as happy as a baby drinking milk. Could it be that it was injured by that incomparably powerful fire energy? If that was the case, Yang Dingtian would really regret it to the point that he would commit suicide. So much so that he would rather go and resist those crazy raging flames himself, and not let Ah Chao do it. Master, what's wrong with my Chao's youngling sword? Yang Dingtian hurriedly summoned Dongfang Minmi in his mind. Note, brothers, please give me a few monthly tickets. Chapter 190. Master, what happened to my youngling sword? Yang Dingtian hurriedly summoned Dongfang Minmi in his mind. Dongfang Minmi immediately woke up from Yang Dingtian's mind. Child, a day has just passed and I can't feel your existence again. What happened? Are you alright? Dongfang Minmi asked with incomparable concern. Although Dongfang Minmi didn't necessarily communicate with Yang Dingtian every day. But at the very least, he would greet him every day. I'm fine. I only killed a 1-star martial profound expert. Yang Dingtian said. You didn't use any lightning attribute profound skills? Dongfang Minmi asked. I didn't. Yang Dingtian said. Dongfang Minmi immediately sighed and said, Child, you're truly amazing. That's right. With Yang Dingtian's current cultivation, he was actually able to kill a 1-star martial profound expert without using any lightning attribute profound skills or anything else. It was truly heaven-defying. Yang Dingtian said sadly, Master, this is nothing. Actually, it was my youngling sword that helped me block the enemy's fatal attack. Otherwise, I might have died long ago. What happened? Dongfang Minmi asked in shock. Yang Dingtian narrated the course of the battle tirelessly. Hearing this, Dongfang Minmi was endlessly shocked. After he finished talking about the battle, Yang Dingtian said, Master, just now when I entered my youngling sword, it didn't have any reaction at all. Quickly help me see if anything happened to it. Yesterday, when Qin Huaiju's final heaven-shattering attack, it helped me take the majority of the damage. Nothing must happen to it. It should be fine. Dongfang Minmi said, with Ah Chao's aptitude, a mere martial profound expert's energy won't be able to support it. I'll immediately help you take a look. After that, Dongfang Minmi's divine sense entered Ah Chao's youngling sword and examined it carefully. After a few minutes, Dongfang Minmi smiled and said, Don't worry, Ah Chao is fine, it's just sleeping. Sleep? Yang Dingtian asked in surprise. That's right, sleep. Just like all babies, it eats and sleeps. That's how it grows, Dongfang Minmi said, it has a big appetite. It hasn't eaten its fill before, so it's always awake. This time, he was finally full and could have a good sleep. When it wakes up, it will grow a little bigger. It was unheard of for a fledgling sword to be able to grow. Little Tian, the speed at which you cultivate a sword soul will shock everyone. It will definitely be a speed that has never been seen before in 1,000 years. Furthermore, your sword soul will become unimaginably powerful in the end. Indeed, for Yang Dingtian's soul sword to be so heaven-defying, Dongfang Minmi had never thought of it. It definitely will. Yang Dingtian said excitedly. In front of his master, he had always acted like a child. That's right, master. Yang Dingtian said, Why do other people's fledgling swords not have divine sense, but my fledgling sword actually has divine sense? It's not just other people's fledgling swords that don't have divine sense. Other people's soul swords, even after being forged, would need a few years to have their own divine sense. Dongfang Minmi said, Your fledgling sword had divine sense from the start. I think this is related to the 10,000-year-old bloody black gold. Because normal bloody black gold is 100 years old, at most 1,000 years old, it hasn't had the time to grow spirit energy. And 10,000-year-old bloody black gold already has its own soul. Even though this soul is very weak and very simple. But it is already close to being a living thing. So, a fledgling sword forged from 10,000-year-old bloody black gold would have divine sense. The reason why this divine sense is close to you is because your blood was spilled on the sword, deeply penetrating into every inch of the fledgling sword. It can be said that if the fledgling sword has blood, then the blood flowing in its body is your blood, so it is connected to your blood vessels. It is an inseparable intimate relationship. I understand. Yang Dingtian then looked at Ah Chao's fledgling sword in his arms and suddenly felt that it was even cuter, looking silly and silly. After being relieved, Yang Dingtian continued to hold Ah Cho and breathe in and out. Even though there were more impurities in the profound qi during the battle at night, but time was pressing and he couldn't care so much. Tomorrow morning, he would be on his way to Cloud Sky City. For the safety of the journey, he had to keep himself in the best condition. As for when Ah Cho's soul sword would wake up, as long as it was fine, it didn't matter when it woke up. Of course, the sooner it could wake up, the better. Because sometimes, Yang Dingtian still needed its help. Moreover, Yang Dingtian was full of expectations for its performance the next time it woke up. After 3 hours of profound qi breathing, Yang Dingtian completely filled his energy vessel and profound veins. Adding on the few high-grade profound gathering pellets in his spatial ring, it was enough for him to use even if he were to encounter any sudden situations along the way. At this moment, there were still 4 hours before daybreak, so he seized the last moment to sleep. Even though the current Yang Dingtian didn't really need to sleep anymore. But he had just fought a big battle, and his body was injured and had just recovered. So, it was always good to have enough time to rest. Then, Yang Dingtian laid on the bed, slept without his clothes, and hugged Ah Cho to sleep. He had just fallen asleep for a few minutes when he suddenly woke up with a start. Because, he heard a series of footsteps, and all the hair on his body suddenly stood up. He tightly grasped Ah Cho's fledgling sword in his hand, and was ready to fight at any time. But soon, he relaxed again. Because these footsteps were very familiar, and at the same time, there was a unique fragrance that was familiar. It was Ling Wu. She had sneakily entered Yang Dingtian's room. Yang Dingtian was somewhat unable to resist this hot, bold, affectionate and cute woman. In order to avoid awkwardness, he hurriedly closed his eyes and pretended to sleep. He hoped that this woman wouldn't do anything stupid, and would just leave after taking a look. But, his hopes were quickly dashed. Ling Wu directly sat beside him, and stared at his face without moving an inch. Yang Dingtian soon became unnatural. Even though his eyes were still closed, his eyelids were constantly trembling. Many times, Yang Dingtian's psychological quality could only be considered as ordinary, and he couldn't keep his composure. Yang Dingtian, I know you haven't slept. Don't pretend anymore. Ling Wu said. Yang Dingtian could only open his eyes, and said, Miss Ling Wu, why are you here? Are you here to bid farewell to me? Ling Wu looked at Yang Dingtian boldly, no, you obviously know why I'm here. Yang Dingtian couldn't resist her words, and opened his mouth, wanting to speak. Unexpectedly, his mouth was covered by Ling Wu's little hand, and she said, don't speak. I know what you're going to say. I've already heard it countless times. Then, Ling Wu said, I'll speak and you'll listen. Yang Dingtian nodded with a complicated expression. Ling Wu said, I know that you love your wife very much, and even owe her a lot. Therefore, you don't dare to do anything that would let her down. Yang Dingtian hurriedly nodded his head vigorously. Ling Wu said, you can rest assured. Even though I love you very much, I don't need you to take any responsibility. I won't enter your family either. I won't fight with your wife for you, and your wife won't know about it at all. You can even treat everything that's going to happen next as a dream. She was really straightforward and bold. I'm very tempted. Who wouldn't be tempted when facing a woman like you? Yang Dingtian gasped for breath, but it's also because of this that I have to be responsible for you. You and I are destined to not have a happy ending in this lifetime. You still have to marry someone else. I hope that you can give your complete self to your future husband. Otherwise, you'll get hurt. This world isn't that tolerant of women. Fool. Ling Wu said tenderly, do you think that I can still marry someone else? Do you think that I can still hold someone else in my heart? Even though I, Ling Wu, am ordinary in every aspect, the only exception is that I'm proud and arrogant. Otherwise, I would have already married someone else. Who can say for sure what will happen in the future? Yang Dingtian sighed. It wasn't that there weren't people who were faithful to one person, but they were indeed very few. Yes, who can say for sure what will happen in the future? Who can say for sure what will happen in the future? Ling Wu looked at Yang Dingtian with her beautiful eyes. I don't know what will happen in the future, but at least for now, I feel that I won't fall in love with another man. This time, I've fallen in love with a man, and it's already very, very tiring. Therefore, I definitely don't want to do it a second time. Yang Dingtian, perhaps, your second time won't be so tiring. On the contrary, it'll be very sweet. Let me finish speaking. Ling Wu stopped Yang Dingtian once again. You're destined to leave this place, and I'm destined to stay here for the rest of my life. In the beginning, I'll be accompanying my father. In the future, I'll be accompanying everyone on this island. I'm the only person on this island who's slightly stronger in martial arts. I want to protect them. Therefore, I know that there won't be a happy ending between us. As for me, I won't marry anyone in the future. There shouldn't be a second you appearing on this island, and so many unforgettable things won't happen. Yang Dingtian, if you want to leave, I'll definitely not urge you to stay. What I want is only a child. Ling Wu was filled with longing. It doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl. However, it'll be best if it's a son. Don't worry, I'll definitely not bring him to look for you. I'll nurture him and let him integrate Fire Island in the future. His father is so outstanding. Therefore, he'll definitely be very outstanding as well. Yang Dingtian, there are many women on the sea who are in such a situation. Ling Wu said, many women aren't willing to get married and are willing to live a carefree life. Therefore, they'll look for the most outstanding man, give birth to a child, and raise it by themselves. I love you. Therefore, I must definitely achieve my goal. Ling Wu said resolutely and decisively. The gaze she used to look at Yang Dingtian was filled with absolute determination. Yang Dingtian stared at her for a long time. After that, he shook his head and said, no. Ling Wu was stunned. Her delicate body trembled as tears gushed out from her eyes. Suddenly, she snatched Yang Dingtian's treasured sword and placed it on her neck. Yang Dingtian, you can reject me. However, if you do that, I'll die in front of you. Of course, your martial arts are much stronger than mine, and you can easily snatch my sword away. However, you'll be leaving tomorrow. How are you going to snatch the sword away from my hand? Yang Dingtian was completely speechless. He had truly never met such a resolute and decisive woman. For a moment, he was actually at a loss. Note, brothers, please give me 2 monthly tickets. Chapter 191. Yang Dingtian was truly at his wit's end. At this moment, Ling Wu was also on the verge of collapse. As it turned out, her shrewish and resolute behavior earlier was mostly an act. After all, she was a woman. Moreover, she was a rarely seen beautiful woman. She was also the daughter of the Inferno Island and the dream lover of many men on the Inferno Island. Of course, she would have her own self-esteem and restraint. However, she was truly at her wit's end when it came to Yang Dingtian. Therefore, she went to seek advice from the women on the island. Those women taught her this method. They said that this method worked every time. However, Yang Dingtian still rejected her in the end. This had nearly caused her self-esteem and willpower to collapse. Therefore, she directly placed her sword on his neck. Yang Dingtian knew that he was in trouble. He had to say some words to salvage the situation. Otherwise, it would really lead to a disastrous situation. Taking a deep breath, Yang Dingtian said seriously, "It's not like that, Ling Wu. You're such an extraordinary woman. If I were to agree to your request rashly, it would be irresponsible to both of us. However, I'm not that pedantic. I feel that we both need time to be baptized. A few years later, if you hear that I'm still alive after my battle with Dongfang Bingling and that you're not married to another man, you can come and look for me if you're still willing. Alright? However, don't let anything happen so easily. Otherwise, I'll be deeply guilty." "Really?" Ling Wu said in ecstasy. "Really?" Yang Dingtian said. "Alright then. However, you'll have to give me a deposit first." Ling Wu said. After that, she kissed him directly. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian felt pain on his mouth. Ling Wu had bitten him fiercely. It was really painful and fresh blood gushed out in an instant. I've bitten you so that you won't forget me in the future. When Ling Wu saw that Yang Dingtian's mouth was filled with blood, tears immediately flowed out from her heart. She said with a trembling voice, "The more painful the bite, the deeper the memory." After that, Ling Wu stretched out her small hand and gently stroked the wound on his mouth. She wiped away the blood stains on it. Gently releasing Yang Dingtian, Ling Wu said softly, "I'm leaving. Otherwise, I'm really worried that you'll go back on your words after a while." After that, Ling Wu left step by step reluctantly. "I'm leaving. When you leave tomorrow, I won't see you off," Ling Wu said in a gentle voice. After that, her beautiful eyes emitted boundless emotions, as if she wanted to deeply remember Yang Dingtian's face. In the end, she turned around and left. Yang Dingtian's heart was in a mess, as if he had lost something. The next day, Yang Dingtian woke up before dawn. Of course, he did not sleep at all, and it was impossible for him to sleep. Wearing the mask, hiding a Chao's youngling sword, taking out another treasured sword, wearing a black cloak that covered his entire body, and draped himself in the remaining darkness of the night, under the escort of Ling Zhong alone, he boarded a small boat and left Blaze Island. As expected, Ling Wu kept her word and didn't come to see him off. "Nephew Yan, I don't care who you are. But, you must remember that the Fire Island can be your home at any time." Ling Zhong had remained silent throughout the journey. But, he suddenly said when Yang Dingtian boarded the ship. "I'll remember," Yang Dingtian said, "I'll always remember the Fire Island, remember you, and Miss Ling Wu." After that, Yang Dingtian leaped onto the small boat and gently rowed. He left the Fire Island and headed towards the northwest continent. Just when he was a few hundred meters away from the Fire Island, a delicate and charming figure suddenly ran over from the island. It was Ling Wu. She was actually wearing a fiery red long dress. It was a dress that she had never worn before. She lifted her long dress as she ran along the pier. She said loudly, "Yan Nantian, I know that you were lying to me last night, but I took it seriously. Right now, I'm wearing a fiery red wedding dress. Remember this. I married you last night, and you personally agreed to it. Remember this. From today onwards, I'm your woman." Immediately, Yang Dingtian was completely dumbfounded. He really didn't expect that Ling Wu would actually use such a move. She would wear a fiery red wedding dress to send him off and express her final determination. Those words he said last night were really just a delaying tactic. However, he didn't expect that he would completely fall into the trap of this fairy-like woman. Instantly, Yang Dingtian's heart surged with emotions. He couldn't say a single word and could only row the ship with all his might. Ling Wu was still holding her dress and running with all her might on the shore. However, she was getting further and further away from Yang Dingtian. In the end, she was wailing loudly as she ran. She used all her strength to grab onto him. However, the thing she loved the most was still getting further and further away. In the end, he completely disappeared in the remaining darkness of the night and disappeared in the morning fog. Her delicate body couldn't hold on any longer. Her legs went soft and she sat on the muddy ground. She cried out in pain. The beautiful red wedding dress on her body was stained with mud. Daybreak, Yang Dingtian had already stepped onto the land of the northwest continent. He bought a fast horse and traveled day and night. He rushed towards Cloud Heaven City, which was more than 6,000 miles away. He wanted to save Madame Shimin, save Shimin Lai, and save the 2,000 over brothers of the Black Blood Cavalry. He wanted to prevent them from flying into the fire like moths. He wanted to save his reputation that was about to be ruined. He wanted to save his qualification to compete for Cloud Heaven City. He wanted to save everything. He wanted to save everything from the hands of his shameless enemies. He wanted to save everything from the hands of his sanctimonious enemies. During these few days, the air around Cloud Heaven City seemed to have condensed. It was as though countless dark clouds were accumulating layer by layer. Finally, it was brewing a world-destroying thunderbolt. First, many people realized that the black blood cavalry that had disappeared for a long time was gradually returning. They were returning one after another. Then, they just stood in the plaza in front of Cloud Heaven City without saying a word. When they arrived, they dismounted from their horses and sat beside them quietly. Then, more and more people came. In the end, the 2,000 over brothers of the Black Blood Cavalry filled half of the plaza in front of Cloud Heaven City. Instantly, the plaza in front of Cloud Heaven City's gate was filled with black people. They didn't say anything. Their faces were filled with complete determination. There was only the coldness of facing death. There was only the soaring murderous aura and flames in their hearts. There was only the determination of moths flying into the fire. Then, Shimin Lai came. Then, Madame Shimin came too. Everyone in Cloud Sky City suddenly felt a suffocating pressure. However, Shimin Ju didn't have any reaction. Yang Yen didn't have any reaction either. Then, a few thousand cavalrymen of the Tiando League's Northwest Division marched towards Cloud Heaven City. Finally, they stopped in front of the plaza in front of Cloud Heaven City's gate. They were all wearing golden armor and wielding golden greatswords. The Tiando League's golden cavalry was on the left. There were 3,000 of them. The Black Blood Cavalry was on the right. There were 2,000 of them. The black and gold cavalrymen didn't speak but coldly faced each other. They were ready to draw their great swords and kill at any time. Everyone in Cloud Heaven City felt an extremely stifling atmosphere. They didn't dare to speak loudly or walk forcefully. It was as though any movement would completely ignite this powder keg and cause a shocking explosion. On the last day of the 5th day, Qin Huayu appeared and led 3,000 cavalrymen of the Qin family into Cloud Heaven City. They silently climbed up the city walls and silently opened their crossbows, aiming at the Black Blood Cavalry below. Then, the members of the Tiando League arrived in Cloud Heaven City one after another. When they passed by Madame Shimin and Shimin Lai, they only glanced at them indifferently. They didn't say anything and left. Every one of them led hundreds of warriors into Cloud Heaven City. When the sun rose, Shimin Nu led close to 1,000 cavalrymen and appeared outside Cloud Heaven City. They formed a formation behind the Black Blood Cavalry and blocked their path. At 8 or 9 in the morning, another infantry of the Northwest Qin family appeared outside Cloud Heaven City and blocked all the paths on Cloud Heaven Mountain. Instantly, the 2,000 brothers of the Black Blood Cavalry were surrounded by over 10,000 people. They had no way out. Once the battle started, they were destined to be like moths flying into a flame. At noon, in the tallest castle in Cloud Heaven City, the Tiando League Northwest Conference was officially held. The 39 members of the Tiando League in the Northwest were all present. The outcome of the conference would determine Yang Dingtian's fate, the fate of the Black Blood Cavalry outside, and the fate of Madame Shimin and Shimin Lai. Furthermore, he had to obtain the crucial third stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship from the wolves of Cloud Heaven City. At this moment, Yang Dingtian was 50 miles away from Cloud Heaven City. His body was covered in dust as he crouched on his horse and madly rushed towards Cloud Heaven City. In less than 5 days, he had rushed over 6,000 miles on his horse. Hopefully, he wouldn't be too late. In view of the fact that Yang Dingtian used the evil soul arts during the trial duel with Yang Xiaobai, and there is a large amount of evidence that shows that before the duel, Yang Dingtian had gone to the land of chaos. There are signs that prove that he was heading towards the Temple of 10,000 Blood, Yang Yen said loudly. Therefore, we have sufficient reason to believe that Yang Dingtian has become a traitor of the evil ways in the Tiando League. Yang Yen, you are slandering me. Madame Shimin suddenly stood up and said, "What evidence do you have to prove that Yang Dingtian used the evil soul arts when he defeated Yang Xiaobai?" Yang Yen said coldly, "Then let me ask Madame Shimin." At that time, Yang Dingtian's cultivation was 1 stage and 11 levels lower than Yang Xiaobai's, but he still defeated Yang Xiaobai. In the 1,000 years of history, is there such an example? That's right, there is such an example. 200 years ago, when Li Tianxiao fought against third young master Qin, he was also 1 stage and 10 levels lower, but he still defeated his opponent. However, in the end, it was proven that Li Tianxiao was a traitor of the evil ways. He used the evil soul arts. Li Tianxiao was like that, and so was Yang Dingtian. Madame Shimen sneered and said, "Didn't you hear what Yang Dingtian said that day? He didn't use the evil soul arts, but released the sword soul." Ridiculous! Yang Yan shouted coldly, "How many people in this world have managed to cultivate the sword soul?" "There are only 3 people, Sect Master Dongfang, City Lord Shimen, and the hidden Sect Master. Now, Sect Master Dongfang is missing, City Lord Shimen is dead, and the hidden Sect Master has been in seclusion for 100 years. In other words, no one in this world has managed to cultivate the sword soul." "How old is Yang Dingtian? What is his cultivation level?" "He used the sword soul to defeat Yang Xiaobai." "Madam Shimen, are you looking down on everyone's intelligence?" When he said that, everyone present sneered. If Yang Dingtian used the sword soul to defeat Yang Xiaobai, then it would be impossible unless the 2 suns rose from the west and set from the east. Yang Yan said firmly, "Therefore, Yang Dingtian must have used the evil soul arts to defeat Yang Xiaobai. In this world, only the evil soul arts have such great power. Therefore, Yang Dingtian is a traitor of the evil ways. There is no doubt about it." Chapter 192. Evidence. "Great Elder Yang Yan, please take out your evidence." Shimen Lai, who was present at the meeting, said coldly. "Evidence?" Yang Yan laughed loudly and said, "Can't we punish Yang Dingtian without evidence? Do we have to wait until Yang Dingtian is like Li Tianxiao, or until there are hundreds of thousands of people in the Taekwondo League before we punish him? Then who will bear the consequences? Can you, Shimen Lai, bear the consequences?" At this moment, a beautiful woman said indifferently, "My Sky Wind Pavilion is in the southwest continent. Originally, I didn't want to speak at this meeting. But recently, I have been advocating for the unification of the North and South, so I dare to say something. As for whether Yang Dingtian is a spy of the evil ways, I wasn't present at that time, so I don't know. But I know that in the past few months, there has been a group of pirates burning, killing, robbing, raping, and committing all kinds of crimes. Even my Sky Wind Pavilion's disciple, Ning Ro, was kidnapped by these pirates when she was on her way to the northwest continent. Fortunately, she was rescued, or else the consequences would be unimaginable. Later on, I found out that these pirates were actually the Black Blood Cavalry." Shimen Lai's lungs were about to explode from anger. He never thought that there would be such a shameless person in this world. The beautiful woman from the Sky Wind Pavilion ignored Shimen Lai's sneer and took out a large stack of things. "I have a large number of victims' documents here, as well as a portrait of the pirate leader. Everyone can take a look and see who this person is." Following that, the Sky Wind Pavilion's female representative unfolded the portrait. The person in the portrait had a delicate appearance with a slight evil aura. His appearance was indeed Yang Dingtian, but his demeanor wasn't Yang Dingtian's demeanor. Yang Dingtian wasn't that evil. "That's right, this person is Yang Dingtian." Yang Yan yelled out, "In order to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens, in order to redress the grievances of the innocent victims, I suggest that the Heaven Dao Union immediately issue a worldwide bounty on Yang Dingtian. Anyone in the world, no matter what faction, as long as they see Yang Dingtian, they are to kill him unconditionally. The killer will receive special merits from the Taekwondo League." Shimen Lai smiled coldly and said, "Great Elder Yang Yan, regarding the pirates, don't you know better than anyone else?" "Shimen Lai, what do you mean?" Yang Yan said coldly, "You're desperate. You are the ones who are desperate. You are worried that young Master Yang Dingtian will make rapid progress and that he will be completely defeated in the Cloud Heaven City Lord's martial arts competition in a few months. Therefore, you are shamelessly slandering young Master Yang Dingtian and trying to kill him," Shimen Lai said coldly. "Shimen Lai, how dare you?" Yang Yan immediately roared. "Enough. Qin Wanshan, who was presiding over the meeting, said indifferently, "This isn't an auction house. Don't curse here." Yang Yan's Yangs, Qin, Yen, what is there? Instantly, the entire place fell silent. Qin Huayu said calmly, "Then I'll tell you my opinion." Qin Huayu said indifferently, "According to what Grand Elder Yang Yan said, Yang Dingtian might be an infiltrator of the evil Dao and would bring great danger to the Heaven Dao Union. Therefore, we cannot treat him as an insignificant matter. However, we don't have any concrete evidence. So, directly announcing that Yang Dingtian is a spy of evil ways and issuing a kill order may be too hasty. So, I suggest that we use the Tiando League's name to issue a kill order for Yang Dingtian. Anyone in the world, no matter what faction, as long as they see Yang Dingtian, immediately arrest him. If he resists, kill him." Great Elder Yang Yan asked, "Then, does Yang Dingtian have the qualifications to participate in next year's City Lord competition?" Qin Wanshan said, "Before Yang Dingtian can prove his innocence, of course he doesn't have the qualifications to participate." "Alright, let's proceed to the final vote." Qin Wanshan said, "Those who agree with Qin Huayu's suggestion to issue a kill order for Yang Dingtian and disqualify him from participating in next year's Cloud Sky City Lord competition, please place your weapons on the table." Immediately, everyone present placed their weapons on the table one after another. Yang Yan and Madame Shimin were both parties involved, so they didn't have the right to vote. The final result was out. Other than the two parties, everyone present agreed with Qin Huayu's suggestion. "Then it's decided." Qin Wanshan said coldly, "Immediately issue a command to the world and announce that Yang Dingtian is a suspect of evil ways. Immediately arrest him. Any faction or sect in the world, once they see him, do their best to arrest him. If he resists, kill him. At the same time, disqualify Yang Dingtian from participating in next year's Cloud Sky City Lord competition." Ha ha ha. Suddenly, Shimin Lai laughed loudly. His laughter was filled with impudence and ridicule. "Shimin Lai, what are you laughing at?" Qin Wanshan shouted coldly, "Are you looking down on the Tiando League's authority?" Shimin Lai sneered, "I have never seen such a shameless scene. Today has really opened my eyes." Qin Wanshan said coldly, "The Tiando League's decree is sacred and inviolable. Are you going to defy it?" Shimin Lai grabbed the huge sword in his hand, stood up, and walked out. "I will use our blood to defend our final honor." Qin Wanshan's face turned cold. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he said, "You are seeking your own death." "That's still better than living a cowardly life," Shimin Lai said. Then, he and Madame Shimin walked out and returned to the Black Blood Cavalry's formation. They suddenly pulled out their long swords. Shimin Lai leads all the Black Blood Cavalry and requests the Tiando League to change its decree. Otherwise, we will use our weapons to carry out a blood remonstrance. Phew! Instantly, all the Black Blood Cavalry stood up. Swish! All the Black Blood Cavalry suddenly pulled out their huge swords. Instantly, a forest of sharp swords appeared. "Shimin Lai, you want to rebel against the Tiando League?" Qin Wanshan said coldly, "The Tiando League has the right to deal a destructive blow to those who rebel. I will count to 10. Immediately throw away the weapons in your hands, kneel on the ground, and await your punishment. Otherwise, you will be killed without mercy." Shimin Lai's face was unyielding as he said coldly, "I request the Tiando League to retract its unreasonable decree." After saying that, Shimin Lai took a step forward. Behind him, more than 2,000 Black Blood Cavalry wielded their huge swords and also took a step forward. Like a black tide, they brought about an incomparably huge pressure. 10, 9, 8, following Qin Wanshan's countdown, Shimin Lai led the black tide-like Black Blood Cavalry forward step by step. They approached the city gate step by step. Shimin Lai was the first to walk. 5. I request the Tiando League to retract its decree. Otherwise, my Black Blood Cavalry will use our weapons to carry out a blood remonstrance. 4. Shimin Lai led the Black Blood Cavalry and still did not retreat. They continued to press forward step by step. Instantly, Qin Wanshan and Yang Yan revealed a cruel sneer on their faces. All Tiando League troops, prepare to suppress the rebels. Clang, instantly, the sound of swords being drawn could be heard. The troops on Cloud Sky City pulled out their sharp swords and drew their large crossbows. A few thousand cavalry troops from the Northwest Qin family mounted their horses and pulled out their sharp swords. A few thousand infantry troops from the Northwest Qin family pulled down their steel masks and pulled out their sharp swords. The cavalry troops of the Tiando League's Northwest Division pulled out their swords. Shimen Nu led a few thousand cavalry troops and pulled out their swords. The tens of thousands of troops that surrounded the Black Blood Cavalry all pulled out their weapons. As long as Qin Wanshan gave the order, the war would instantly erupt. The tens of thousands of troops would carry out the final strangulation of the Black Blood Cavalry. 3, 2, 1. Instantly, the faces of Yang Yan, Tang Buizhao, and the others became extremely sinister and proud. Shimen Lai, you are indeed seeking your own death. Kill the traitors. Qin Wanshan shouted. Boom. The tens of thousands of troops rushed towards the Black Blood Cavalry like a tide. The war instantly erupted. More than 2,000 Black Blood Cavalry were about to be completely submerged in an instant. Stop. Suddenly, a cold voice came from the air. Then, a figure dressed in white floated down to the square of Cloud Sky City. Yang Dingtian, disguised as a hidden sect disciple, Wu Ming, had finally arrived. However, the war had already begun. The massacre had already begun. Blood was already splattering everywhere. Stop. Yang Dingtian said coldly, if you don't stop, both sides will be equally guilty. Everyone present will be killed. Instantly, the expressions of Qin Huayu, Qin Wanshan, Yang Yan, and the others on the city gate changed. Stop it. Qin Wanshan suddenly roared. Then, he took the lead and jumped down from the city gate. Then, he bowed respectfully. Northwest Qin City, Qin Wanshan, greets young Lord Wu Ming. At the same time, everyone on the city gate jumped down from the city gate and bowed respectfully. Tiando League Northwest Branch, greets young Lord Wu Ming. Shimen Lai's body trembled. He suddenly stabbed his giant sword into the ground and bowed. Cloud Sky City Shimen Lai, greets young Lord Wu Ming. Greets young Lord Wu Ming. All the Black Blood Cavalry knelt down on one knee. Tens of thousands of Northwest Qin family and Tiando League allied troops knelt on the ground and shouted respectfully, greets young Lord Wu Ming. This was the power of the hidden sect. Once a hidden sect disciple walked the world, no matter who he was, he would become the absolute leader of the Tiando League. At this moment, everyone bowed down. Only Yang Dingtian was left standing. He was handsome and refined. He fluttered in the wind like an immortal. But at this moment, his face was cold. There was no smile on his face. He ignored everyone's respect and walked straight into Cloud Sky City. When he passed by all the important figures of the Tiando League Northwest Branch, Yang Dingtian said coldly, follow me in. Instantly, everyone followed behind Yang Dingtian and walked into Cloud Sky City. Back in the meeting room, Yang Dingtian sat at the highest position in the center. He looked down and asked plainly, Yang Yan, you said that Yang Dingtian is a spy of the evil ways? Yes. Yang Yan bowed. Where's the evidence? Yang Dingtian asked plainly. Yang Yan's eyes trembled. He then gritted his teeth and said, Yang Dingtian's cultivation is lower than Yang Xiaobai's by more than 10 levels. But he still defeated Yang Xiaobai and even took his life. In this world, only the evil soul art can do that. Moreover, the situation is exactly the same as Li Tianxiao's duel 200 years ago. Yang Dingtian ignored Yang Yan's words and asked plainly, where's the evidence? Chapter 193. After hearing Yang Dingtian ask for evidence again, Yang Yan's expression changed and he said, Young Master Wu Ming, Li Tianxiao almost destroyed the entire Tiando League 200 years ago. It was such a painful lesson, so I feel that special circumstances should be handled differently. Yang Dingtian's matter doesn't require evidence and can be handled directly. Then, Yang Yan continued, moreover, the Taekwondo League's Northwest Conference has already passed a vote. If Yang Dingtian was really a disciple of the hidden sect, then Yang Yan's actions were already very disrespectful. What he meant was that they had already passed a vote, so Wu Ming shouldn't be a busybody. His words actually treated the disciple of the hidden sect as a bodhisattva on the stage. He was respectful on the surface, but in reality, he was disobeying on the inside. No one objected to Yang Yan's disrespect towards the disciple of the hidden sect. It could be seen that the hidden sect had not traveled the world for 200 years. Although everyone still followed the tradition of the disciple of the hidden sect being the leader of the Taekwondo League on the surface, their hearts were filled with doubts and dissatisfaction, especially when it involved their own interests. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian fell into a dangerous situation. His eyes narrowed. I came out this time for two matters. First, investigate the disappearance of the Maori barbarian tribe. The Maori barbarian tribe occupied the entire ice-snow continent. Tens of millions of people have completely disappeared from this world. This is some kind of omen, so you have to send a large number of people to investigate this matter. Yang Dingtian didn't continue to argue with Yang Yan and changed the topic. Yes, young Master Wu Ming, everyone shouted in unison. For matters like this that didn't affect their interests, they were happy to show their respect and obedience to the disciple of the hidden sect. The second matter is regarding the spies of the evil ways in the Taekwondo League, Yang Dingtian said calmly. Once he said this, Yang Yan's expression changed and he revealed an excited expression. It turned out that young Master Wu Ming was also supporting them. Shimen Lai and Madame Shimen's expressions darkened and they were furious. It turned out that the disciple of the hidden sect was also so realistic. However, according to my information, the sects with evil ways are not from Cloud Sky City, but from other sects that are even more prominent. Yang Dingtian said indifferently, I won't name names here, but I will talk to the relevant people. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expression changed. As for Yang Dingtian, I have heard of him, but I don't know much about him. Yang Dingtian said faintly, however, regarding the matter of him being an infiltrator of evil ways and conducting a worldwide manhunt, this cannot be passed. I want to veto it. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present immediately cried out in alarm. Young Master Wu Ming, please reconsider. This is the decision of everyone in the Taekwondo League's Northwest branch, Yang Yan said coldly. There was a hint of threat in his words. This is an order. You can choose to obey or disobey, Yang Dingtian said calmly. Instantly, everyone's faces showed signs of struggle and anger. They really wanted to flip the table over and say coldly, who the fuck are you, John Doe? How dare you give us orders? They really wanted to do so, but they didn't dare. Who wants to disobey? Say it. At this moment, Yang Dingtian revealed a smile and looked at everyone calmly. He was gambling. He was gambling that no one dared to stand up and take the risk. Do you have any objections to my order regarding Yang Dingtian? Yang Dingtian asked calmly. Although Yang Yan was unwilling, he could only grit his teeth and lower his head. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everyone replied in unison. That's good, Yang Dingtian said calmly, then, the worldwide manhunt for Yang Dingtian is cancelled. Yang Yan hurriedly said, Young Master Wu Ming, what about Yang Dingtian's qualifications to participate in next year's contest for the position of City Lord? Yang Dingtian said calmly, this is Cloud Sky City's internal affairs. It is not within the scope of the Taekwondo League's discussion. Therefore, everyone present who is not from Cloud Sky City, leave. Yes, sir. Instantly, the dozens of people present, other than those from Cloud Sky City, all left, including Qin Wanshan and Qin Huayu. Those from Northwest Qin City, stay, Yang Dingtian suddenly said. Qin Wanshan and Qin Huayu immediately stayed. At this moment, there were only Yang Dingtian, Madame Shimen, Shimen Lai, Yang Yan, Tang Buizhao, Qin Wanshan, and Qin Huayu in the main hall. Regarding whether Yang Dingtian's qualifications to participate in next year's contest for the position of City Lord, this is Cloud Sky City's internal affairs. Even I can't interfere. Yang Dingtian said calmly. However, regarding the division of Cloud Sky City, I have enough authority to interfere. Instantly, Yang Dingtian's expression became stern. As a member of the Tiando League, how can Cloud Sky City be divided and have a civil war? Shimin Lai hurriedly said, Young Master Wu Ming, please listen to me. This is because of Yang Yan and the others, I'm not listening. Yang Dingtian directly interrupted Shimin Lai and said coldly, the main point of my trip this time is to investigate the disappearance of the Maori barbarians. I'm not here to be a judge for Cloud Sky City. I'm not here to decide who is right and who is wrong. Yes. Shimin Lai immediately stepped back and lowered his head. Instantly, Yang Yan's expression relaxed. As long as Wu Ming didn't deliberately lean towards the other side, he wasn't worried. My hidden sect has never interfered with the internal affairs of any sect in the Tiando League, so I'm no exception. I don't care who is right and who is wrong. As long as it doesn't involve evil ways, I don't care, Yang Dingtian said calmly, your own matters will be decided by your own weapons. Yang Dingtian's words were, of course, very straightforward. After hearing Yang Dingtian's words, Yang Yan, Shimin Lai, and the others were instantly more certain of Wu Ming's identity as the successor of the hidden sect. The successor of the hidden sect should be so domineering and not hypocritical. Then, I have an opinion. Yang Dingtian said coldly, it's only an opinion, not an order. It's still up to you whether to accept it or not. My first opinion is that it's not right for the Black Blood Cavalry to wander outside like this. Moreover, they're wandering in the Tiando League's territory and will only increase the number of incidents. I've already heard of many cases where the Black Blood Cavalry has committed crimes. Shimin Lai said, Young Master Wu Ming, this is someone's framing. Yang Dingtian said coldly, do you think I'll care about this? Once he said this, Shimin Lai was instantly speechless. Yang Dingtian continued, so, Shimin Lai, bring the Black Blood Cavalry back to your Black Blood Castle. I don't care whose force is stationed in Black Blood Castle. All of them must leave. No one is allowed to stay. Once he said this, Qin Wanshan and Yang Yan's expressions changed drastically. On the other hand, Shimin Lai and Madame Shimin were pleasantly surprised. But Yang Dingtian continued, in the martial arts contest for the position of the City Lord next year, if Yang Dingtian loses, he won't be able to inherit the position of the City Lord. Then, Shimin Lai, you have to completely hand over the Black Blood Cavalry and Black Blood Castle. You, Madame Shimin, Yang Dingtian, your force will be completely expelled from Cloud Sky City. From then on, you will have nothing to do with Cloud Sky City. I only have one opinion, which is that there can only be one voice in Cloud Sky City. Don't cause any division. I don't care who is in charge of Cloud Sky City, but there can only be one voice in Cloud Sky City. Once he said this, Shimin Lai and Madame Shimin's expressions changed slightly. In the end, Yang Dingtian said indifferently, if you accept my mediation, then we will stop fighting. The time limit is 1 day. Evacuate everyone in Black Blood Castle. Shimin Lai will bring the Black Blood Cavalry and station them in Black Blood Castle. If you don't agree, then start a civil war until one side is completely annihilated. However, only people from Cloud Sky City can participate in the war. No other forces are allowed to interfere. Shimin Lai hesitated and struggled. Then, he looked at Madame Shimin and gritted his teeth. We are willing to listen to young Master Wu Ming's orders. What about you? Yang Dingtian looked at Yang Yan and the rest. Yang Yan, Tang Buizhao and the rest were silent. They didn't answer. It was obvious that they weren't willing. Yang Dingtian frowned slightly. Then, he said to Shimin Lai and Madame Shimin, you can leave first. Yes. Shimin Lai and Madame Shimin walked out of the hall. After Shimin Lai and Madame Shimin left, Yang Dingtian looked at Qin Wanshan and said, your northwest Qin city sent people to impersonate Yang Dingtian and the Black Blood Cavalry to commit all kinds of crimes at sea. What is going on? Instantly, Qin Wanshan's expression changed. He was about to explain. I don't want to listen to explanations. Yang Dingtian waved his hand and interrupted, I have already appeared. Why are you still doing this? Aren't you making things difficult for me? Moreover, you are full of flaws and unscrupulous. Where is the righteousness of the Tiando League? Do you want me to interfere or not? It's fine to do things, but don't expose yourself. Don't eat your fill. Qin Wanshan was stunned. Then, a strange smile appeared on his face and he said, yes, understood. Then, Yang Dingtian's expression suddenly became serious. After hesitating for a moment, he said, actually, I came out this time for an even more important matter. Keep this matter in your hearts and don't reveal it to anyone in the future. Instantly, Yang Yen and the others were shocked. They hurriedly said, yes. Shimin Ningning, Yang Dingtian said, that day, after Yang Dingtian defeated Qin Xiaobai, there was an internal battle in Cloud Sky City. Was it Shimin Ningning who single-handedly blocked several thousand of your people? And killed close to 1,000 of your people? Speaking of this, Yang Yan's expression changed. Thinking of the situation that day, he said with lingering fear, yes. She killed close to 1,000 of our people. Moreover, we were completely defenseless. To be honest, I have never seen such a terrifying person. Normally, she doesn't even have the slightest ability to attack. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath. Actually, during the entire process, Qin Huayu didn't say a word. However, he had been observing Yang Dingtian. Just now, Yang Dingtian had vetoed Yang Dingtian's punishment and insisted on letting Yang Dingtian participate in next year's martial arts contest for the position of City Lord. This was enough to arouse suspicion. Now, Yang Dingtian was asking about Shimin Ningning again, which would easily arouse Qin Huayu's suspicion. Therefore, in order not to expose himself, he really shouldn't continue to ask about Sister Ningning. However, he couldn't help it. What happened to Shimin Ningning in the end? Yang Dingtian still asked. Chapter 194. When he asked this, Qin Huayu's gaze trembled slightly, and Yang Yan's face already showed a slightly doubtful expression. On that day, she repelled a few thousand of us. After killing nearly 1,000 of us, none of us dared to approach her. Subsequently, she vanished without a trace. None of us dared to chase after her. Yang Yan explained. After which, he looked at Yang Dingtian and asked, Young Lord Wu Ming, why did you mention her? Yang Yan had already expressed his doubts in the latter half of the sentence. If Yang Dingtian could not justify himself, then the situation would become dangerous again. Sister Ningning has already run away. Is this Yang Yan lying? Yang Dingtian thought to himself. Then, he adjusted his emotions and said calmly to them, do you know why she could kill nearly 1,000 of you? Yang Yan said, please enlighten me, young Master Wu Ming. Because of the deep-sea Xian poison, Yang Dingtian said calmly. Deep-sea Xian poison? Yang Yan said in shock. As for everyone present, their expressions changed. Deep-sea Xian poison, the world's #1 poison, Naga's last life-saving item. If Shimin Ningning used deep-sea Xian poison to kill them, then the whole thing would be troublesome and complicated. It's good that she ran away, Yang Dingtian sighed. Her identity is too complicated, and her background is too big. Even if she was captured, we really don't know what to do. Before we figure out her identity, we can't kill her, let her go, or even lock her up. She ran away herself, this is the best-case scenario. Then what is her background? Yang Yan said with a trembling voice. Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, I'm not sure yet, but her background is very big, maybe even bigger than mine. Then, Yang Dingtian stood up and said, okay, anyway, don't talk about this woman in the future, just treat her as a taboo. My elders have not made a final decision on how to treat this woman. Let's wait until the sect confirms her true identity and makes a final decision about her. Yes. Yang Yen and the others said. Alright, that's all for today. Find me a room. I'll stay in Cloud Sky City for one night, Yang Dingtian said. Cloud Sky City is truly honored. Young Master Wu Ming, please wait for a moment. We will prepare the biggest banquet in history for you, Yang Yen said. No need. Yang Dingtian said resolutely and decisively, I don't want to see anyone. I'll just find a room and stay there for the night. I'll leave tomorrow. The investigation into the disappearance of the Maori barbarians is very urgent. I cannot delay it. Yes. Yang Yen and the others bowed. Then, Yang Dingtian walked out. When he reached the door, Yang Dingtian suddenly turned around and asked, Elder Yang Dingtian, you still haven't answered me about the matter of Yang Dingtian participating in the martial arts contest for the Castellan's position next year and handing over Black Blood Castle. Yang Yan's expression changed slightly. He lowered his head and said, Young Master Wu Ming, you also said that this is Cloud Sky City's internal affairs. So, please give me one night and I'll give you a reply tomorrow. How about that? Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly jumped. If he was the successor of the hidden sect, then Yang Yan's actions would be considered very rude. Making himself qualified to participate in the martial arts contest for the Castellan's position next year was only the first thing Yang Dingtian did when he came to Cloud Sky City. Next, there were two other things. One was to see the 1,000-year black fox demon and ask about the foxman race's language. Another thing was to obtain the third stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship. Furthermore, obtaining the third stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship was the most important thing. But now, he couldn't even complete the first thing. Yang Yen personally brought Yang Dingtian to Tianbin Pavilion to rest. Young Master Wu Ming, have a good rest. I'll take my leave first, Yang Yen said. He looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. Yang Dingtian said plainly, there's only the two of us here. You can say whatever you want. Yang Yen hesitated for a moment and said, then forgive me for being presumptuous. Speak, Yang Dingtian said. Young Master Wu Ming knows Yang Dingtian? Yang Yen asked. Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, I've heard of him, but I've never seen him before. Then why would young Master Wu Ming protect him time and time again? Yang Yen said, first, you rejected the decision to capture him. Then, you want him to participate in the martial arts contest for the Castellan's position next year. If you say it's for no reason, it's really hard to believe. If not for your unique skills, to be honest, I can't help but suspect that you're Yang Dingtian. Once these words came out, Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly jumped. Yang Yan's words were already very rude. Yang Dingtian looked at him plainly and said, that's right. There's indeed a reason. Then, may I be so bold as to ask, what's the reason? Yang Yen stared at Yang Dingtian's face closely. Because the pig-slaying swordsmanship has a great relationship with the hidden sect. It might even be left behind by the seniors of the hidden sect, Yang Dingtian said plainly. What? Yang Yen cried out in surprise, his face revealing an expression of disbelief. Actually, I came out this time for another important mission, which is to bring the pig-slaying swordsmanship back to the hidden sect. Yang Dingtian stared at Yang Yen and said slowly, this is a powerful and mysterious swordsmanship. I believe you've already felt its prowess, so it can't be left behind in the outside world. Of course, Yang Yen felt it. Yang Dingtian learned the pig-slaying swordsmanship. That kind of terrifying cultivation speed could be said to have overturned all of his knowledge, breaking the historical record that had never been seen in thousands of years. Otherwise, why would they be so impatient and shameless to want to kill Yang Dingtian? It was because Yang Dingtian's cultivation speed was too shocking. Yang Yen calmed down his astonished emotions, took a deep breath, and asked, then may I ask, what's your sect's attitude towards Yang Dingtian? I can't tell you. Yang Dingtian said coldly, but there are 2 points. The swordsmanship that Yang Dingtian learned is related to our hidden sect, so he definitely can't be associated with evil ways. The hidden sect will never allow such a thing to happen. Yang Dingtian's meaning was very clear. Since Yang Dingtian couldn't be associated with evil ways, then Cloud Sky City naturally didn't have the right to disqualify him from participating in next year's City Lord Martial Arts contest. Yang Yen suddenly revealed a slightly strange smile and said, "You just said that you want to bring the pig-slaying swordsmanship back to the hidden sect. What if Yang Dingtian wants to learn the pig-slaying swordsmanship?" Yang Dingtian, who was disguised as John Doe, turned around and said calmly, "That has nothing to do with us. What I'm concerned about is that Yang Dingtian can't be associated with evil ways no matter what. We don't care about anything else. Furthermore, if it's a swordsmanship left behind by the hidden sect, outsiders don't have the right to learn it." Understood. Yang Yan's eyes immediately revealed a trace of a smile as he asked, "What if Yang Dingtian is truly related to the evil Dao?" "There's no such possibility," Yang Dingtian said firmly, "even if he's dead, there's no such possibility." "I understand," Yang Yan said, "I'll give you a reply tomorrow." "Okay." Yang Dingtian said calmly with his back facing Yang Yan, "And the pig-slaying swordsmanship?" Yang Yan said, "I'll give you a reply tomorrow for the pig-slaying swordsmanship." "Be quick," Yang Dingtian said calmly, "you have to know that we're very generous. If you make things easy for us, I just have to move my mouth and Cloud Sky City will enjoy it endlessly." Yang Yan's face lit up and he nodded. "Yes, yes. I'll take my leave." Then, Yang Yan bowed and left. Obviously, the Northwest Qin family had the final say in Cloud Sky City, so Yang Yan couldn't agree to Yang Dingtian's request directly. The next morning, Yang Dingtian woke up early. The beautiful maidservant had already delivered an exquisite and sumptuous breakfast, but Yang Yan, Tang Buizhao, and the others didn't appear. Yang Dingtian suddenly felt a slight uneasiness in his heart. His current identity was Wu Ming, the successor of the hidden sect. The people of Cloud Sky City couldn't wait to curry favor with him, so it was inevitable for him to go to the hidden sect in the morning and evening. Now that he had woken up at dawn, none of the important figures of Cloud Sky City had appeared. This was a little abnormal. Could it be that they had doubts about his identity? Today, Yang Dingtian had another important matter, which was to meet the 1,000-year black fox enchanting and ask her about the foxman race's language. However, as a disciple of the hidden sect, it was unreasonable for him to ask to meet a 1,000-year black fox. Moreover, the existence of the enchanting was considered a secret even in Cloud Sky City. As an outsider, how could he know about the existence of the enchanting? Therefore, he had to find a convincing reason. Before coming to Cloud Sky City, Yang Dingtian had already thought of several reasons. But now the situation had changed. Things didn't go as smoothly as he had imagined, so those reasons weren't sufficient. Therefore, Yang Dingtian racked his brains to think of a reason to meet the enchanting naturally. It was obviously impossible to sneak in without being discovered. There were countless pairs of eyes staring at the small building where he lived. Qin Huayu of the Northwest Qin family is here to visit. At this moment, Qin Huayu's gentle and elegant voice came from outside. Yang Dingtian's expression changed slightly, and his heart skipped a beat. Qin Huayu. Since Yang Dingtian appeared as Wu Ming yesterday, he hadn't said a word. Today, when the sun had just risen, he had actually come to visit. Why was that? Did he discover something? No matter what, Qin Huayu was undoubtedly the most dangerous person. "Come in," Yang Dingtian said lightly. This was the most dangerous person. He had to be 120% alert to deal with him. Qin Huayu greets young Master Wu Ming. After entering, Qin Huayu bowed. His attitude was neither servile nor overbearing. Yang Dingtian returned the bow and said lightly, "Young Master Qin, is there anything I can help you with?" Yang Dingtian's character, Wu Ming, was an arrogant and indifferent person. Therefore, he didn't need to be so polite to Qin Huayu. "I do have something to ask." Qin Huayu also said directly, I heard that the disciples of the hidden sect are all knowledgeable people. There is nothing in the world that they don't know and do. Therefore, I have something that I don't understand. This was a test. The hair on Yang Dingtian's back suddenly stood up. The dangerous moment had arrived. Qin Huaiyu was going to test him. Once Yang Dingtian answered incorrectly, he would most likely be exposed and put himself in a life-threatening situation. Although his heart was tightly clenched, Yang Dingtian still had to play the role of Wu Ming very realistically. He frowned slightly and said, "Speak." Qin Huaiyu took out a white handkerchief and opened it gently on the table. "I obtained this by chance. It doesn't have much value. However, I have always been interested in words. I know most of the words in the world. However, I don't know any of the words on this white handkerchief. The disciples of the hidden sect are knowledgeable people. Can you solve my confusion?" Yang Dingtian took a step forward and saw that there were indeed dozens of words on the white handkerchief. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. Coincidence? Or was there some other reason? Because the words on the white handkerchief were exactly the same as the words on Yang Dingtian's Earth Obsidian Flame map. Although Yang Dingtian didn't know these words, he could tell at a glance that they were the same kind of words. From the structure of the words, the style, and other aspects, he could tell at a glance. Immediately after, Yang Dingtian also realized. There were at least dozens of words on the handkerchief, and they were the same as the words on Yang Dingtian's Earth Obsidian Flame map. Instantly, Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. He used all his strength to suppress his breathing and emotions so that Qin Huaiyu wouldn't be able to see any flaws. Then, one thing could be proven now. The other half of the Heaven and Earth Obsidian Flame map was in the hands of the Northwest Qin family and Qin Huaiyu. Yang Dingtian's half of the Obsidian Flame map was obtained by Ning Rou from Li Tianxiao. If the other half of the map was in Qin Huaiyu's hands, did that mean that the damned man who molested Ning Rou and gave birth to little Ningning was the Qin family's young lord, Qin Huaiyu? Chapter 195. Did that mean that little Ningning's biological father was Qin Huaiyu? That's right, it should be him. Firstly, the man who defiled Ning Rou should have a very high status. Otherwise, when Ning Rou returned to the northwest mainland, the Sky Wind Pavilion disciples who looked down on her wouldn't have welcomed her with such fanfare. Furthermore, the senior sister of the Sky Wind Pavilion's stronghold in the northwest mainland had a very strange attitude towards Ning Rou. She looked down on her and was jealous of her. Yesterday, the Sky Wind Pavilion completely followed the Northwest Qin clan's lead. That's right, that bastard should be Qin Huaiyu. Back then, Qin Huaiyu might have received some news and found out that the traitor Li Tianxiao lived in seclusion and died 200 years ago. Furthermore, he knew that Li Tianxiao definitely had treasures on him. Therefore, he went to the secret cave on the mountain peak where Li Tianxiao lived in seclusion. Unexpectedly, he met Ning Rou from the Sky Wind Pavilion there. Perhaps it was because of Ning Rou's beauty or some other reason, Qin Huaiyu defiled Ning Rou and crippled her cultivation, causing her to be pregnant with little Ningning. Instantly, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but reveal extreme hatred in his heart. Not only did this bastard defile such a beautiful woman like Ning Rou, but he also had wild ambitions towards Yan Yan. If he had the chance, he would definitely tear him into pieces. Young Master Wu Ming, do you recognize this language? Qin Huaiyu asked. Instantly, Yang Dingtian quickly suppressed the hatred in his heart. After all, it was more important to get through the current crisis. The hidden sect controlled the entire world, so the hidden sect disciples knew much more than ordinary people. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they were knowledgeable people. If Yang Dingtian couldn't answer, it would be bad. At this moment, Qin Huaiyu's eyes were staring at Yang Dingtian. Although this gaze wasn't directly threatening, it made one feel as if there was a thorn in one's back. Obviously, because he was overly concerned and protective of Yang Dingtian, Qin Huaiyu was suspicious of Wu Ming's identity. Therefore, he came up with this difficult question to test him. However, fortunately, Yang Dingtian just happened to know the answer to this question. Otherwise, it would really be dangerous. Yang Dingtian slightly frowned and said, "This is the language of the Foxman race." He didn't say much and only said this impatiently. Qin Huayu's expression changed slightly, and he said, "Senior brother Nameless is indeed a learned man. Then do you know the meaning of these words?" Yang Dingtian said, "The Foxman race is just the most remote race in the Dongli wilderness. There are only tens of thousands of them. What's the point of learning their language?" Qin Huayu smiled and said, "It's already a pleasant surprise to know that this is the language of the Foxman race. I will remember young Master Wu Ming's kindness in answering my questions. I will take my leave now." After that, Qin Huayu took his leave. He came quickly and left even faster. There were very few people who knew the language of the Foxman race, so Yang Dingtian should have successfully dealt with Qin Huayu's probing. However, why was Qin Huayu's attitude still somewhat lukewarm after probing? This was somewhat strange. Of course, Yang Dingtian wouldn't really think that Qin Huayu didn't know that it was the language of the Foxman race. The other half of the map of the Heaven and Earth Obsidian Flame should have been in Qin Huayu's hands for many years. With the power of the Northwest Qin clan, they should have already investigated the words on it clearly. Now, they only lacked the other half of the map that Yang Dingtian had. Yang Dingtian really didn't expect that the other half of the map of the Heaven and Earth Obsidian Flame was actually in the Northwest Qin clan. This was troublesome. It was simply too difficult to obtain the other half of the map of the Heaven and Earth Obsidian Flame from the Northwest Qin clan. However, without the other half of the map, Yang Dingtian couldn't find the exact location of the Heaven and Earth Obsidian Flame. Without the Heaven and Earth Obsidian Flame, Yang Dingtian's strength was completely out of the question. He couldn't win the martial arts contest for the City Lord position next year. He couldn't forge the Soul Sword or cultivate the Sword Soul. There was even less hope for the battle with Dongfang Bingling 4 years later. It could be said that without the Heaven and Earth Obsidian Flame, Yang Dingtian had no hope at all. Moreover, the time left for Yang Dingtian to search for the Obsidian Flame was at most half a year or so. However, what kind of place was the Northwest Qin clan? It was the most powerful force in the entire Western mainland. It was truly a dragon's pool and a tiger's den. It was completely the most dangerous place. How could he get the other half of the map from them? Steal, rob, cheat? It was completely tantamount to pulling a tooth from a tiger's mouth. For a moment, Yang Dingtian couldn't sort out any clues, so he temporarily put it aside. After all, the most important thing now was how to make Yang Yen and the others submit and how to obtain the secret manual of the pig-slaying swordsmanship after the third stage. However, there was one thing that he was certain of, and that was that he couldn't meet Yao Rao anymore. Now, the entire Cloud Heaven City was controlled by Qin Huayu, and of course, Yao Rao was included. If he took the words on the map of the Obsidian Flame for Yao Rao to identify, then Qin Huayu would very likely know that the other half of the map was in his hands. The Heaven and Earth Obsidian Flame could make even Grandmaster-level experts go crazy. Yang Dingtian wouldn't let anyone know that the other half of the map was in his hands. Yang Dingtian even suspected that if Qin Huayu knew that the other half of the map was in his hands, even if he was the real successor of the hidden sect, Wu Ming, he would very likely make a move on him. After all, this was the Heaven and Earth Obsidian Flame. Instantly, Yang Dingtian's heart was in a mess. Just then, Yang Yan's voice came from outside. "I am Yang Yan. Greetings to young Master Wu Ming." He was finally here. Yang Dingtian had been waiting for him for a long time. Yang Dingtian said, "Come in." After Yang Yan came in, there was a faint smile on his face. His expression seemed to be very respectful, but there was another meaning in his gaze. "Why? Have you thought about Yang Dingtian and the pig-slaying swordsmanship?" Yang Dingtian asked indifferently. Yang Yan said, "These things aren't urgent. Now, there is another more important matter." Yang Yan's tone was very strange. There was even a hint of sarcasm. Who gave him such courage? What is it? Yang Dingtian's tone suddenly turned cold. Yang Yan said, after knowing that the successor of the hidden sect had arrived in Cloud Sky City, all the forces in the world moved. All the sects and forces in the Tiando League rushed to Cloud Sky City to pay their respects. 3 sects, 9 clans, and 27 factions were all present. Among them, the sect leaders of 29 sects came personally. Because the sect leaders of 10 sects were unable to leave, they also sent important envoys. After Yang Dingtian heard this, his heart suddenly beat wildly. He suddenly felt as if his soul had left his body. This time, he had really gone overboard. The reason why he could pretend to be the successor of the hidden sect was because he knew the Pasha tribulation swordsmanship. Also, the hidden sect had been in seclusion for 200 years. Everyone who had seen the hidden sect was basically dead. Another important reason was that when he pretended to be the successor of the hidden sect, the people with the highest cultivation were Qin Huayu, Qin Wanshan, and Yang Yan. The cultivation of these 3 people had not surpassed the level of a martial honorable. Therefore, without exchanging blows, it was impossible to see through his own cultivation. Actually, it was very easy for them to expose him. They just had to exchange blows with him. Even if it was just one move, they could completely expose him. When he was at the Divine Weapons Mountain Villa, Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu did not exchange blows directly. They only performed 2 moves of the Pasha tribulation swordsmanship. As long as they exchanged blows, he would not be able to hide his great mystic martial master cultivation. How could the successor of the hidden sect only have the standard of a great mystic martial master? Without a doubt, he was an impostor. However, they did not dare to take this risk. Therefore, Yang Dingtian, this impostor, had not been exposed. However, if it was a great grandmaster or even a master realm expert, without exchanging blows, they would be able to see through the other person's cultivation. Therefore, as long as he met a great grandmaster, his identity would definitely be exposed. Even if he met a master realm expert, there was a high possibility that he would be seen through. Now, the experts of the 3 sects, 9 clans, and 27 factions were all rushing to Cloud Sky City. Among them, there were at least dozens of Master Realm experts and 2 or 3 Great Grandmaster Realm experts. If he met with them, his imposter identity would definitely be exposed and he would definitely die. Even death would be the lightest punishment. Impersonating the successor of the hidden sect could be said to be the biggest sin in this world. It was even more heinous than being an infiltrator of evil ways. No wonder his master, Dongfang Minmi, had always been against him impersonating the successor of the hidden sect, nameless. Yang Yan continued, because the distance is too far, most of the sect masters have not arrived yet. The fastest, the Qin family master, will probably only arrive at Cloud Sky City at night. Along with him is our Cloud Sky City's general manager, Shimin Ju. The moment he said that, Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly jumped. The Qin family master, Qin Wanchou, was also coming. He was going to arrive at night? Yang Dingtian suddenly felt that his heart was going to cramp because the Qin family master, Qin Wanchou, was a great grandmaster realm expert through and through. Once he saw him, he would be able to see through his cultivation and see that he was an impostor. By then, he would definitely be consigned to eternal damnation. It was all his fault for thinking too simply. He thought that as long as he revealed his identity as the successor of the hidden sect, Yang Yan and the rest would obediently give in. But in reality, this old fox was respectful on the surface, but in reality, he was just pretending to be obedient. He was trying his best to stall for time and leave everything to Qin Wanchou. It seemed that this old fox had long suspected his identity as the successor of the hidden sect. No, he had to quickly think of a way to escape. He had to leave before evening. Otherwise, when Qin Wanchou arrived, everything would be over. Since you are only coming at night, why are you looking for me now? Yang Dingtian asked coldly. Yang Yan said, although Master Qin Wanchou will only arrive at night, all the forces and sects near Cloud Sky City have already arrived. There are a total of 179 people, and they are all waiting in the meeting hall for an audience with young Master Wu Ming. Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. He hoped that there wasn't a Master Realm expert among them. However, the closest Master Realm expert to Cloud Sky City was the Master of the Northwest Qin City, Qin Wanchou. Yang Dingtian was instantly relieved. Oh? Yang Dingtian asked casually, who are they? They are all small sects and sects nearby, Yang Yan said. Yang Dingtian frowned slightly and said, then I won't meet them. Young Master Nameless, you should meet them. Yang Yan's expression suddenly became strange and said, although most of them are from small sects and sects, there is a big figure among them who is very close to the hidden sect. Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat and he asked, who is it? The leader of Fall City Sword Sect, Yun Padian. Yang Yan said. Instantly, Yang Dingtian's vision turned black. Yang Yan's words were like a bolt from the blue. The thing he was most afraid of had happened. Yun Padian was a Master Realm expert. This was nothing. The most important thing was that he was one of the people who was most familiar with the hidden sect in this world. Fall City Sword Sect was the sect that had the closest relationship with the hidden sect in this world. Many people even thought that they were the representatives of the hidden sect. 200 years ago, Fall City Sword Sect was only a third-rate sect. They were not even in the 3 sects, 9 clans, and 27 branches. However, in the war with the evil ways, they were the most courageous and fearless. Their performance was very conspicuous. Moreover, the daughter of the leader of Fall City Sword Sect was coincidentally sent to serve the leader of the hidden sect. Hence, after the war, the leader of the hidden sect bestowed Fall City Sword Sect with a set of sword techniques, Boundless Heaven and Earth Sword. From then on, Fall City Sword Sect instantly grew stronger. In just a few decades, they went from being unknown to an overlord of the 9 clans. Hence, Fall City Sword Sect was also known as the sect that had the closest relationship with the hidden sect. Basically, no one dared to provoke them in the Tiando League. Now, the leader of Fall City Sword Sect, Yun Padian, actually came to Cloud Sky City to meet him. This was the worst news for Yang Dingtian. Meet him? It was very likely that he would be seen through and exposed. If he did not meet him, he would appear to be guilty. Chapter 196. Not meeting him. There was no reason at all. The Qing City Sword Sect and the Hidden Sect had such a close relationship. How could they not meet him? If Yang Dingtian insisted on not meeting Yun Padian, it would be equivalent to admitting that he was a fake. That was why he did not dare to meet Yun Padian. Coincidentally, sect leader Yun Padian happened to pass by the northwest mainland and heard that the successor of the hidden sect had arrived in Cloud Sky City. He hurried through the night to meet you, Yang Yan said. Young Master Wu Ming, are you going to meet him or not? Instantly, Yang Dingtian felt that Yang Yan's tone had become sinister and unpredictable. This old fox had long suspected Yang Dingtian's identity. That was why his attitude was so explicit. I'll meet him, Yang Dingtian said directly. He did not even hesitate because he could not hesitate. As long as he hesitated, it would arouse even greater suspicion. Once this suspicion reached a certain level, Yang Yan would test him. By then, the situation would be irreversible. Yang Yan was slightly stunned. Then, he bowed and said, all right, young Master Wu Ming, this way please. Then, Yang Yan led the way and brought Yang Dingtian to the meeting hall. Yang Dingtian pretended to follow casually. However, he was so nervous that he almost suffocated. What he was about to face next might be the most tense and dangerous moment in his life. On the way to the meeting hall with Yang Yan, Yang Dingtian met many Cloud Sky City disciples. Although all the disciples bowed to him immediately when they saw him. However, Yang Dingtian still saw their doubtful gazes, even though they tried their best to hide it. It was not strange for people to doubt his identity. However, Cloud Sky City allowed such doubts to fester. That was very abnormal. Without a doubt, this was the indulgence of the upper echelons of Cloud Sky City. They even added fuel to the fire. As a result, when the Cloud Sky City disciples at the bottom saw him, they also looked at him with suspicion and forgot their deep respect. The meeting hall was in the largest castle in Cloud Sky City. It was a few thousand square meters and was enough for hundreds to thousands of people to discuss. When Yang Dingtian walked into the hall, everyone's gazes immediately turned to him. There were close to 200 people sitting neatly in the meeting hall. Before Yang Dingtian walked in, everyone was discussing animatedly. The moment Yang Dingtian walked in, there was complete silence. "Greetings, young Master Wu Ming." Finally, someone took the lead and bowed. All of a sudden, more than 100 people in the hall bowed and saluted. However, there were two exceptions. A handsome and proud young man and a middle-aged man with sword-like eyebrows and a beautiful beard sat in the middle of the room. When they saw Yang Dingtian enter, their eyes shot towards Yang Dingtian like lightning. The middle-aged man's gaze was especially piercing. It was as if he wanted to see through Yang Dingtian's body. This middle-aged man with a beautiful beard should be the sect leader of Fall City Sword Sect, Yun Patian. That proud and handsome young man should be his son, Yun Wuxin. Yang Yen went forward and bowed. "Sect Master Yun, this is the successor of the hidden sect, young Master Wu Ming." Yang Dingtian had an indifferent expression as he looked at Yun Patian. "Oh?" Yun Patian still didn't stand up. He scanned Yang Dingtian from head to toe and said, "A successor of the hidden sect has appeared. Why didn't I know about it?" As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's faces were filled with shock and excitement. Then, everyone looked at Yang Dingtian. Sparks flew from the beginning. Yun Patian didn't hide anything and directly questioned Yang Dingtian's identity. Yang Dingtian frowned slightly. Yun Patian was too arrogant. Moreover, he called himself the hidden sect. It seemed that he had completely treated himself as the representative of the hidden sect in this world. In fact, Fall City Sword Sect had already gained a huge advantage. The Fall City Sword Sect's strength was not considered very strong. Their sect leader was only at the master level. Although they were one of the 9 sects, their strength was far from the Northwest Qin family. They were even weaker than Cloud Sky City. However, because of the hidden sect, no one dared to provoke them. Of course, this was also because they didn't infringe on the fundamental interests of the major sections. Yang Dingtian could clearly feel Yun Potion's strong hostility towards him. After thinking for a while, he instantly understood the reason for the strong hostility. The hidden sect was a huge resource. If the hidden sect had been hiding from the world, Fall City Sword Sect would have been able to monopolize this resource. However, once the successor of the hidden sect appeared in this world, the special status of Fall City Sword Sect would disappear. Therefore, although Fall City Sword Sect was greatly indebted to the hidden sect, they couldn't wait for the successor of the hidden sect to never appear in this world again. Of course, the moment Yang Dingtian appeared as the successor of the hidden sect, Fall City Sword Sect's first reaction was strong suspicion. They had never seen Yang Dingtian before, so they didn't have any relevant evidence. Their suspicion was only because of their own interests. They desperately hoped that this Wu Ming of the hidden sect was a fake. Now, Yun Patian saw the legendary successor of the hidden sect. He was a grandmaster-level expert, so he could faintly feel that Yang Dingtian's aura and energy didn't seem to be strong. He was instantly overjoyed, but his expression and gaze were even colder and sharper. He directly questioned. "How dare you impersonate the successor of the hidden sect and infringe on the interests of Fall City Sword Sect? No matter who you are, I will definitely send you to the 18th level of hell." Hearing Yun Potion's direct questioning, Yang Dingtian was slightly stunned. Yun Potion's face was even colder. He said, "Did you hear what I said? Why is it that Fall City Sword Sect doesn't know that the successor of the hidden sect has appeared? Please give me an explanation." Yun Potion's attitude was even more arrogant and presumptuous. He was even more superior. Instantly, everyone stared at Yang Dingtian to see how he would respond. Yang Dingtian frowned slightly and said coldly, "Who does Fall City Sword Sect think you are? Do I have to report to you when I'm out in the world?" As soon as he said that, everyone's expression changed. They didn't expect Wu Ming's attitude to be even more arrogant and cold. Yun Potion's expression changed drastically. Then, he raised his head and laughed loudly. Who in the world doesn't know that Fall City Sword Sect and the Hidden Sect are as close as a family? If the Hidden Sect has a successor, how can I not know? Yun Padian said coldly. Yang Dingtian said indifferently, "You think too highly of yourself. Actually, in the Hidden Sect now, very few people even know what Fall City Sword Sect is. When I came out this time, I heard that Fall City Sword Sect was added to the 3 sects, 9 clans, and 27 factions. I couldn't help but be slightly shocked. You guys are like dogs who bully others by relying on their master's power. I will report it when I return." Presumptuous! Yun Padian shouted furiously, "Are you courting death? You are obviously impersonating the successor of the Hidden Sect to achieve an ulterior motive. Hurry up and expose your disguise. Otherwise, I'll let you die without a burial ground today." Seeing Yun Potion's anger, Yang Yen smiled and said, "Sect leader Yun, calm down, calm down. This is a serious matter. We still need evidence." Yang Dingtian's words calmed Yun Padian down slightly. Then, he looked at Yang Dingtian and smiled coldly, "All right, you say you are a disciple of the Hidden Sect. What evidence do you have? What keepsake do you have? In this world, not any Tom, Dick, or Harry can impersonate a disciple of the Hidden Sect." Of course, Yang Dingtian could refute him by saying that he was impersonating the successor of the Hidden Sect. What evidence did he have? Or, Yang Dingtian could say that his sword skills and sword were not enough to prove his identity. However, Yang Dingtian didn't say a word. He only looked at Yun Padian coldly. Because the disciples of the Hidden Sect were definitely arrogant and reserved. How could they be reduced to arguing? Therefore, pretending to be disdainful was the best way to deal with it. "Humph, you think it's okay to be pretentious and not say anything?" Yun Padian said coldly, "If you are the successor of the Hidden Sect, your cultivation must be shocking and far surpass everyone here. Therefore, I only need to test you a little and I will be able to expose your facade." When he said this, Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly jumped. Yun Padian continued, "Of course, a small character like you is not enough for me to personally teach you a lesson. My son, Yun Wuxin, is a 1-star martial ancestor realm expert. Just nice, I will test you, you impersonator." Then, Yun Padian looked at everyone and said, "Everyone, today I will let you all watch a good show. Wuxin, go." "Yes." Instantly, the arrogant and handsome youth jumped lightly and landed in front of Yang Dingtian as if he was weightless. He looked at Yang Dingtian with a sinister smile. "My son, go expose his facade. Don't show any mercy." Yun Padian said calmly, "Of course, don't kill him. Because we still have to take him to the Taekwondo League headquarters and kill him with the punishment of being swallowed by 10,000 snakes." Being swallowed by 10,000 snakes was the Taekwondo League's cruelest punishment. It was only used on those who had committed the most heinous crimes. "Yes, father," Yun Wuxin said. After which, she looked at Yang Dingtian and sneered, "Imposter, if you admit your crimes now, you might be able to die a little more comfortably. Once I expose you, I guarantee that you will taste the most extreme pain in this world. It will make you wish you were dead, but you wish you were dead." Hearing Yun Wuxin's words, Yang Dingtian did not react at all. He still looked at him calmly. "Ah, you're still pretending even now." Yun Padian shouted coldly, "Do it." "Yes." Yun Wuxin suddenly pulled out his sharp sword. Everyone instantly opened their eyes wide, waiting for the battle to break out. If this young master Wu Ming was the real one, then he could easily defeat the 1-star martial ancestor realm Yun Wuxin. If Wu Ming was defeated, then there was no doubt that this was an impersonator. The most dangerous and unfavorable situation for Yang Dingtian had arrived. Finally, someone directly attacked and exposed his facade. A 1-star martial ancestor realm expert, who was 2 ranks and 16 levels higher than Yang Dingtian. His cultivation was dozens or even hundreds of times higher than Yang Dingtian's. Even if Yang Dingtian was extremely heaven-defying, he still had no chance of winning. To put it bluntly, if Yun Wuxin attacked, he could instantly kill Yang Dingtian without any accidents. However, Yang Dingtian would not let him attack. Chapter 197. I don't care what your name is. Draw your sword. Yun Wuxin sneered. Yang Dingtian stood in front of him without moving or drawing his sword. You're just bluffing. Yun Wuxin said, don't think that I won't attack you just because you're doing this. Then, all the profound energy in his body began to condense. Immediately, the temperature in the entire hall dropped lower and lower. The sword in Yun Wuxin's hand also gradually changed color. It went from clear as water to blue. It became bluer and bluer, and finally, the entire sword was emitting a fluorescent light. This meant that the profound energy in his sword had reached its limit. A 1-star martial ancestor realm expert. This was practically the strongest opponent Yang Dingtian had ever faced head-on. A 1-star martial ancestor realm expert's strongest profound energy was more than enough to instantly kill Yang Dingtian. This was exactly what Yun Wuxin wanted. He wanted to completely kill the imposter in front of him. Yang Dingtian still stood in place without moving. He still hadn't drawn his sword. Yun Potion's face immediately revealed a ruthless sneer. Meanwhile, everyone in the conference hall had practically held their breaths. Yang Yen might have a smile on his face, but his gaze had almost frozen. He was looking forward to the scene of Yang Dingtian being instantly killed. Kill! Yun Wuxin shouted and slashed with his sword. An incomparably strong profound energy was about to shoot out. But at this moment, all of a sudden, Yang Dingtian opened his eyes and opened his palms. Bang! A huge bolt of lightning fiercely struck Yun Wuxin's body. A mouthful of blood instantly shot out of his mouth. Yun Wuxin's entire body was charred black. He suddenly fell to the ground and his body burst open. Of course, he wasn't dead. He was a martial ancestor realm expert. Yang Dingtian's mountain split couldn't kill him. In fact, Yang Dingtian's mountain split couldn't really hurt him either. The reason Yun Wuxin was injured was because of the backlash from his own profound energy. He had gathered all of his profound energy into his sword and was about to slash fiercely at Yang Dingtian. Just as the profound energy was about to burst forth, Yang Dingtian suddenly struck out like lightning. Immediately, he was unable to release the profound energy that he had condensed to the extreme. It crazily surged back into his body through his profound veins, causing him to suffer a backlash. That was why he suddenly fell to the ground, as if he had been killed by Yang Dingtian. Of course, what Yang Dingtian was doing was extremely dangerous. If he had been even 0.01 seconds late, the one who would have been killed would have been Yang Dingtian. In fact, he couldn't have done it earlier because he wouldn't have been able to cause Yun Wuxin's profound energy to backfire on him then. Furthermore, with Yang Dingtian's current cultivation level, the Mountain Splitter's lightning was unable to truly harm Yun Wuxin, who was a martial ancestor realm expert. Therefore, the mountain-splitting lightning couldn't be released any sooner or later. Yang Dingtian was gambling with his life. He was walking on a tightrope. However, he had no choice. He was now the successor of the hidden sect. It was fine if he did not make a move, but once he did, unless his opponent was a martial honorable, he would definitely be killed in one move. Because he was the successor of the hidden sect, the future #1 person in the world. If he could not kill a beginner martial ancestor realm expert in one move, it would be a complete failure and he would be questioned by everyone. Now, Yang Dingtian's risk had succeeded. He had used Yun Wuxin's backlash to kill in one move. At this moment, everyone present was completely stunned as they stared at Yang Dingtian in shock. Yang Yen was stunned. Yun Patian was also completely stunned. all of them stared at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. Lightning-type profound skills, lightning talent, 1 in a billion. Of course, it did not mean that one was the successor of the hidden sect just because they possessed lightning profound skills. However, a few hundred years ago, several generations of the hidden sect's successors all possessed lightning talent that was 1 in a billion. Furthermore, the most important thing was that although one could only learn the superficial moves of the Pasha Calamity Crossing Sword, the effects of the attacks could be simulated with several times the amount of profound energy. Furthermore, those who possessed lightning profound skills might not necessarily be the successor of the hidden sect. However, to be able to perfectly execute the effects of the Pasha Calamity Crossing Sword and use lightning profound skills, there seemed to be no other possibility. He could only be the successor of the hidden sect. After recovering from his shock, Yun Potion's expression changed drastically. He was horrified. He had offended the successor of the hidden sect. The Fall City Sword sect relied entirely on the hidden sect for survival. Now, he had actually offended the successor of the hidden sect. Why was it like this? This nameless in front of him clearly had a very low cultivation level. How could he kill Yun Wuxin, the son of a martial ancestor realm expert? Someone reacted first and immediately knelt down and said, "Greetings, young Master Nameless." Instantly, almost everyone present knelt down and said respectfully, "Greetings, young Master Nameless." Just a moment ago, they might have been suspicious and perfunctory. Now, they were completely in awe and fear. After killing Yun Wuxin, Yang Dingtian said coldly, "Fall City Sword Sect, Cloud Heaven City, what a good one." When he said this, Yun Potion's body trembled violently. Yang Yan's face instantly turned pale. After saying this, Yang Dingtian immediately turned and left. If he didn't leave now, when would he? Yang Dingtian had used a lightning-type mystic skill, which was 1 in a billion, to stun everyone. At this moment, leaving in a towering rage was the best time. If he left any later, he wouldn't have a reason to leave. When the Qin family patriarch, Qin Wanshou, arrived at Cloud Heaven City, he wouldn't have a chance to leave even if he wanted to. Qin Wanshou was the overlord of the world and a martial grandmaster realm expert. Any disguise Yang Dingtian had in front of him would immediately disappear. Therefore, if Yang Dingtian didn't leave now, his little life would be lost here. However, in the eyes of Yun Poxin and Yang Yan, young Master Nameless left with an icy chill and towering rage. As he walked out, Yang Dingtian said coldly, "Yun Wuxin has offended his superiors and is sentenced to death by being dismembered by 5 horses." The Fall City Sword sect used the might of the hidden sect to intimidate others and tarnish the reputation of the hidden sect. From today onwards, he will be completely expelled from the 3 sects, 9 clans, and 27 branches. He will be completely expelled from the Tiando League. Yang Dingtian hadn't finished speaking when Yun Potion's face turned green. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted on the ground. The Fall City Sword sect's foundation of more than 100 years was about to be completely destroyed in his hands. Yang Dingtian continued to walk out as he said, "Cloud Heaven City harbored evil intentions and offended their superiors." From today onwards, hearing Yang Dingtian's words, Yang Yan's body trembled and he suddenly chased after him like a madman. He grabbed Yang Dingtian's sleeve and screamed, "Young Master Nameless, please forgive my Cloud Heaven City this once. I am willing to completely obey young Master Nameless orders and let Yang Dingtian participate in the martial arts competition for the position of City Lord." Yang Dingtian ignored him and continued to walk out. However, he no longer announced Cloud Heaven City's punishment and directly walked out of the meeting hall, out of everyone's sight. As for Yang Yan, he bowed and followed closely behind. Walking to a place where no one could see him, Yang Yan quickened his pace and walked in front of Yang Dingtian. He said with a trembling voice, "Young Master Nameless ordered me to return Black Blood Castle to the Black Blood Cavalry. If I could make the decision, I would of course obey. However, the army stationed in Black Blood Castle is the Northwest Qin City's army. I am truly powerless. Why don't you directly ask the City Lord Qin?" "How was that possible?" Once he saw the city lord Qin, Yang Dingtian would be exposed and would immediately die without a burial place. Although he was unwilling, Yang Dingtian understood that he couldn't return to Black Blood Castle today. He could only wait for the martial arts competition for the position of City Lord 7 months later. Only by obtaining victory in the martial contest would Yang Dingtian be able to truly take back the Black Blood Castle and Cloud Heaven City. Instantly, Yang Dingtian's expression turned cold as he said, "Did I say this to you?" Yang Yen clenched his teeth and took out a scroll from his chest. He offered it with both hands and said, "Young Master Nameless, this is the 3rd stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship. I am willing to offer it to redeem my crime of disrespect." He finally handed over the 3rd stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship. Yang Dingtian was waiting for this moment. However, why was there only the 3rd, 4th, and 5th stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship? Instantly, he frowned slightly and said, "There is only this scroll." Yang Yen said anxiously, "I have searched the entire Cloud Heaven City, and there is only this scroll. If I am lying, let my Yang ancestors not rest in peace in the underworld." At this moment, Yang Yen was terrified. He was afraid that Yang Dingtian would be enraged, so he immediately swore an oath on his ancestors. Yang Dingtian frowned slightly. He took the 3rd stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship and put it in his sleeve. He said coldly, "If you had handed over this scroll earlier, I would have bestowed upon Cloud Heaven City enough for you to enjoy hundreds of years of blessings. Now that you have handed it over, you can only atone for your sins. There is no merit. You old man, you are really stupid." Yang Yan's face was filled with endless regret. He bowed and said, "I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I deserve to die. All right." Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and said, "This way, Cloud Heaven City is innocent and has no merit." After saying that, Yang Dingtian continued to walk out of Cloud Heaven City. Yang Yen hurriedly bowed and said, "Young Master Wu Ming, please stay. Cloud Heaven City will do our best to serve you to atone for our sins today." Yang Dingtian ignored him and continued to walk out. Yang Yen did not dare to stop him anymore. He bowed respectfully and said, "I will send you off, young Master Wu Ming." Just like that, Yang Dingtian left Cloud Heaven City. Although the process was not smooth and could even be said to be thrilling, he had completed everything in the end. Now, what Yang Dingtian needed to do was to immediately take off his mask and change his clothes after he was a few hundred miles away from Cloud Heaven City. Then, he would make Wu Ming, the successor of the hidden sect, disappear from this world completely. This time, pretending to be Wu Ming was a close call. He was almost completely exposed and almost killed instantly. He was about to be completely smashed into pieces. In the future, Yang Dingtian could never pretend to be Wu Ming again. Otherwise, he would definitely die. Even after Yang Dingtian left. When Yun Padian and Yang Yen carefully recalled the situation just now, they would have doubts about Wu Ming's identity again. If Wu Ming disappeared completely, then this suspicion would forever remain as a suspicion. If Wu Ming dared to appear again, then this suspicion would become a sword. Yang Dingtian rode his horse and galloped. He was getting further and further away from Cloud Heaven City. As long as he was more than 100 miles away from Cloud Heaven City, Yang Dingtian would completely make Wu Ming disappear from this world. 20 miles away from Cloud Heaven City, 2 Black Blood Cavalry suddenly rushed in front of him. Black Blood Cavalry greets young Master Wu Ming. Yang Dingtian frowned slightly and said, "What's the matter?" The Black Blood Cavalry said, "Madam Shiman requests to see young Master Wu Ming." Mother-in-law, I'm sorry, no, I should be the one apologizing. Madam Shiman said, "You shouldn't have taken on such a heavy responsibility. I'm very happy that Yen Yen can help you. Furthermore, I believe that you will definitely bring Yen Yen back." "I will definitely, I swear." Yang Dingtian said, "Before the martial arts competition, I will definitely go to the Netherworld Sea and bring Yen Yen back to your side." I believe you, Madame Shimin said gently. Yang Dingtian looked at Madame Shimin's face. She had already lost a lot of weight, and she had also become haggard. Then, Yang Dingtian said embarrassedly, Mother-in-law, I thought that there were no flaws in my disguise as Wuming. Why were you still able to recognize me? What exactly is the problem? Madame Shimin said gently, silly child, it's not that there's a problem. This is a kind of feeling, you know. You are Yen Yen's husband. I treat you as my own child, as my closest relative. So, no matter what your appearance is, I will recognize you. For example, if Yen Yen changed her face, would you be able to recognize her? Of course. No matter what Yen Yen changed her face, Yang Dingtian would be able to recognize her. From her eyes, from her temperament, from her smell, he would be able to recognize her. Did you already recognize me yesterday? Yang Dingtian asked. Madame Shimin said, I just saw you yesterday. Because of my emotions, although I felt that your smell was somewhat familiar, I didn't recognize you. After I went back last night, your figure kept appearing in my mind. Recalling the details, I confirmed that it was you. Yang Dingtian was slightly shocked. Then, will those people in Cloud Sky City recognize me as Yang Dingtian? They won't, Madame Shimin said. Qin Huayu is meticulous and cunning, but he has never seen your true appearance before. Although Yang Yen has seen you before, they have very little contact. Even Ah Lai didn't recognize you. Mother is a woman. My mind is meticulous and sensitive, so I can recognize you. Hearing Madame Shimin's words, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but relax a little. But luckily, Shiminju isn't in Cloud Sky City. Otherwise, he would definitely recognize you as Yang Dingtian. Madame Shimin continued, this person is very sensitive and meticulous. He is very scheming. I have never seen someone like him before. Also, he will be accompanying Qin Wancho back to Cloud Sky City tonight. When I saw that you hadn't left Cloud Sky City, I became anxious, so I got people to stop you on the way. If you still didn't come out, I would have rushed into Cloud Sky City. Yang Dingtian smiled and didn't tell her about the dangerous situation just now. Then, he said apologetically, I'm sorry, mother-in-law. Now, Black Blood Castle is being guarded by the Northwest Qin City's army, so I can't make them give it up. Madame Shimin smiled gently. It's fine. We have temporarily found a place to stay, although it's a little small. Also, we have waited for a few months, so we don't mind waiting a few more months. I believe that little Tian will definitely be able to take back Cloud Sky City and Black Blood Castle in 7 months. Then, Madame Shimin said, Little Tian, what do you plan to do next? Mother's injuries have already healed. I can follow you and protect you now. Yang Dingtian shook his head. No, there are many things that I need to do with different identities. Also, the brothers of the Black Blood Cavalry need you even more. Then, Yang Dingtian looked at the sky. It was almost noon. Mother-in-law, I can't stay here any longer. I have to leave immediately. Qin Wancho and Shiminju are about to arrive at Cloud Sky City. I have to be as far away from them as possible. It's best for you to bring the brothers of the Black Blood Cavalry and leave immediately. Although they probably won't dare to do anything to you, Qin Wancho and Shiminju are too dangerous. You have to be as far away from them as possible, Yang Dingtian said. Okay. Madame Shimin said. Then, she hugged Yang Dingtian tightly in her arms and said gently, Little Tian, Mother really hopes that I can live with you and Yen Yen one day. Wait for another 8 months. Wait for another 8 months. Yang Dingtian said, 8 months later, I will bring Yen Yen back and take back Cloud Sky City. Then, we will live together as a family. Mother believes you. Madame Shimin said gently, from today onwards, you are also Mother's son. Yang Dingtian swore again and again in his heart. 8 months later, he would definitely take back Cloud Sky City and take back the home that belonged to Madame Shimin and Yen Yen. Then, He would never lose them again. After rushing for a few hours, Yang Dingtian was finally 200 miles away from Cloud Sky City. In a secluded place, Yang Dingtian took off John Doe's mask, took off John Doe's clothes, and replaced John Doe's sword. He stuffed everything related to the successor of the hidden sect, John Doe, back into the space ring. From now on, the successor of the hidden sect, John Doe, would no longer exist in this world. He would completely disappear from this world. From now on, Yang Dingtian would never appear as John Doe again. Those who play with fire are bound to burn themselves. Today, he was almost consigned to eternal damnation. Next time, Yang Dingtian wouldn't be so lucky. Moreover, when Yang Dingtian acted like a tyrant as John Doe, he didn't feel comfortable at all. Instead, he felt extremely uncomfortable. There was an indescribable discomfort. That was because the power brought by this false reputation was unreal. It didn't completely belong to him. But overall, it wasn't too bad. Yang Dingtian finally tricked Cloud Sky City into learning the third stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship. After completely erasing John Doe's identity, Yang Dingtian had to do 3 things. The first was to cleanse his marrow and meridians. Only after cleansing his marrow and meridians would the next breakthrough be much smoother. The second was to learn the third stage of the pig-slaying swordsmanship and strive to break through to the martial mystic realm. That was because only martial mystic realm experts could refine the heart flame and the heaven and earth mystic flame. The third was to find a way to obtain the other half of the map of the heaven and earth mystic flame from the northwest Qin city. The first 2 things weren't too difficult, but the third was extremely difficult. Easy first, then difficult. First, cleansing his marrow and meridians. 3 days later, Yang Dingtian arrived at West Prefecture City, which was 2,000 miles away from Cloud Sky City. West Prefecture City was the largest and most prosperous city in the northwest continent. It had a population of over 1 million and was the location of the Tiando League's northwest branch. It didn't belong to any faction and was under the direct jurisdiction of the Tiando League. If the northwest continent was a country, then West Prefecture City would be the capital of the northwest continent. The reason why Yang Dingtian came here was because the northwest continent's largest auction house was located here. Whether it was cleansing his marrow and meridians, or nurturing the ice and lightning mystic talismans, Yang Dingtian needed to purchase a large amount of medicine and crystals. Master, I want to cleanse my marrow and meridians. What do I need to prepare? Yang Dingtian asked. You're going to cleanse your marrow and meridians alone? Dongfang Minmi asked in astonishment. Yes, is there anything wrong? Yang Dingtian asked. That will be very dangerous. Dongfang Minmi said, the first and second stages of cleansing can be done alone. After the third stage, someone must protect you. Otherwise, you might explode and die. Yang Dingtian asked in shock, Master, is the probability of exploding very high? The third stage of cleansing, if there is no one protecting you, the probability of exploding is 50%. The fourth stage of cleansing, if there is no one protecting you, the probability of exploding is 70%. Dongfang Minmi said. 70%? Yang Dingtian couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. This probability was too high. He was about to undergo the fourth stage of cleansing. Yang Dingtian asked, Master, then look at my current mystic meridians. Are they heavily sedimented? After Dongfang Minmi checked Yang Dingtian's mystic meridians, he said, the sedimentation is not serious. Because your several major breakthroughs were completely pure mystic qi, there was not much sedimentation in your mystic meridians. Yang Dingtian asked, then if I don't cleanse my marrow and meridians, how much will my cultivation efficiency decrease? Dongfang Minmi said, about 30%. So high. Chapter 199. Of course, the higher the level of Xian meridians, the higher the efficiency of Xian qi. With the same amount of Xian qi, the breakthrough will naturally be higher. Dongfang Minmi said, but now that there's no one to protect you, You can't even go through the 4th level of cleansing, let alone the 5th level. With your current cultivation, if you go through the 5th level of cleansing, the chance of your body exploding is almost 100%. That's right, it was like that. Generally speaking, martial artists in the world would only go through the 4th level of cleansing after reaching the martial mystic level because the success rate was higher this way. If one's cultivation wasn't at the martial mystic level, even if there were experts protecting them, there wouldn't be any danger of exploding. But the failure rate was very high. Once the cleansing failed, the Xian Qi cultivation would regress. As for how many levels it would regress, it was completely dependent on luck. Yang Dingtian was now a 5-star great mystic martial master, and it was already extremely dangerous for him to undergo the 4th stage of the cleansing of marrow and meridians. Let alone the 5th stage of the cleansing of marrow and meridians. Just like what Dongfang Mimi said, the chance of his body exploding was 100%, and the chance of failure was 100%. Master, but I have a secret weapon. Yang Dingtian laughed in his heart, the holy water that I stole from the 5 Elements Hall's secret realm. If I pour some of it into the cleansing potion, it might have a miraculous effect. Dongfang Minmi fell into a short silence. That's right, Yang Dingtian still had the holy water. It had the effect of reviving the dead. But no one can guarantee that the holy water will be useful for cleansing. Dongfang Minmi said. Yang Dingtian said, but it's worth a try, isn't it? Dongfang Minmi fell into silence, then said, okay, then we'll give it a try. But I only agree to let you go through the 4th level of cleansing. You can't try the 5th level. Yes, master. Yang Dingtian said, now you can tell me what medicine and crystals are needed for the 4th level of cleansing, right? You child. Dongfang Minmi smiled and said, the 4th level of cleansing requires 10 4th-grade fire soul crystals, the fresh blood of a 5th-grade fire-type demonic beast, 10 stalks of heaven-slaying grass, and 3 tails of demon fire stalactite. Yang Dingtian, master, can I buy these things? Of course. Dongfang Minmi said, although these materials are expensive, they are not very rare. In total, it's about 80,000 gold coins. 80,000 gold coins? Yang Dingtian couldn't help but exclaim. Of course, this number was not a lot for Yang Dingtian, but for most of the warriors in the world, it was too much. Even if a wandering martial artist risked his life to earn money, he would only earn 1,000 gold coins a year. In other words, if they wanted to undergo a meridian cleansing, even if they didn't eat or drink, they would need to earn at least 80 years. At that time, they would have been long dead. Therefore, this world was too cruel to the weak. Yang Dingtian usually didn't carry much money with him, and it was too inconvenient to carry a large amount of gold coins with him. Generally speaking, a large amount of money would be stored in the Tiando League Bank, and then the Tiando League Bank's special crystal notes would be enough. But since Yang Dingtian came to this world for more than half a year, he basically didn't have the opportunity to spend money, so he only had a few hundred gold coins for daily expenses. In order to gather 80,000 gold coins to buy the materials for meridian cleansing, Yang Dingtian had to sell some things. There were many valuable things in Sister Ningning's space ring, and any one of them was priceless. Yang Dingtian's 2 Xian talismans couldn't be measured with money. But Yang Dingtian found that there weren't many treasures that he could sell. Sister Ningning's secret manuals, he definitely couldn't sell them. There were also things that Yang Dingtian didn't recognize, so he couldn't sell them either. After looking around, Yang Dingtian found that the only things he could sell were pills and the bloody black gold ore that he didn't need. Among these pills, almost all of them were 5th or 6th grade, and most of them were Saint Spirit pills and Xian gathering pills. Among them, there were 13 5th-grade Saint Spirit pills and 19 5th-grade Xian gathering pills. There were 5 6th-grade Saint Spirit pills and 8 6th-grade Xian gathering pills. These were all consumable pills, and although their grades weren't low, their prices weren't high. 5th-grade pills were about 1,000 gold coins each, and 6th-grade pills were about 2,000 gold coins each. Moreover, Yang Dingtian might need them in the future, so there was no need to sell them. Of course, There were a few 7th grade and even 8th grade Saint Spirit pills and Xian gathering pills, but Yang Dingtian might need them in the future, so it would be a pity to sell them. So after looking around, the most valuable thing was still the 6th grade Beast Soul pill. The Beast Soul pill could be said to be the most expensive type of pill, but it was also the rarest and hardest to find. When a martial artist reached the martial mystic realm, they would start to cultivate their martial soul. Almost everyone chose to tame a powerful demonic beast and refine it as their martial soul. At this time, they would need the Beast Soul pill. A 6th grade Beast Soul elixir meant that he could tame a 6th grade demonic beast and refine it into his martial soul. A 6th grade beast was equivalent to a martial ancestor realm martial artist. Of course, after refining it into a martial soul, its power would be weakened. But even so, a 6th grade martial soul was the dream of most martial artists in this world. Therefore, Yang Dingtian's 6th grade Beast Soul pill could be sold for a terrifying price. Moreover, this Beast Soul elixir was refined by Ningning. She was a genius beast speaker and alchemist, so this elixir still had a lot of room for growth. After all, Ningning had taken it with her for 3 years and it had already reached the 6th level. As for the bloody black gold ore that Yang Dingtian didn't need, it was worth about 50,000 gold coins. It couldn't be compared to the price of the 6th grade Beast Soul pill. 99 pieces of bloody black gold could be used to forge a spirit sword. Therefore, 50,000 gold coins per piece of bloody black gold seemed to be very cheap. However, there were too few people who cultivated spirit swords in this world. Moreover, every piece of bloody black gold needed to be dug out by oneself. Therefore, Yang Dingtian's bloody black gold could only be used to forge a normal bloody black gold sword. A bloody black gold sword for 50,000 gold coins per piece, at least 20 pieces were needed. In other words, the most common bloody black gold sword would cost over 1,000,000 gold coins. This price was already very shocking. Yang Dingtian's Chou Youngling sword, if one didn't consider its powerful supplementary value, and purely based on the value of bloody black gold, it was worth at least 200 million gold coins. Because the price of a 10,000-year-old bloody black gold was 100 times that of a normal bloody black gold. Moreover, it was absolutely priceless. And the Chou Youngling sword's powerful and mysterious supplementary value was more than 10,000 times the value of its material. Therefore, the Chou Youngling sword was completely priceless. It would not be excessive to use the entire West Continent city to exchange for the Chou Youngling sword. Of course, this was only a joke. The Chou Youngling sword was Yang Dingtian's lifeblood. He would not exchange it for anything. Furthermore, it had already recognized its master. It would not be of any use to anyone else. Speaking of the Chou Youngling sword, Yang Dingtian was slightly worried. Because it was still in a deep sleep. It had eaten too much the last time. It had slept for almost half a month and had yet to wake up. Even though his master Dongfang Minmi kept saying that it was fine, Yang Dingtian could not help but be worried, arriving at the largest auction house in West Continent City. It was a huge building over 10,000 square meters. Inside, there was a Tiando League bank, a consignment shop, an auction house, and a hypermarket. Pills, materials, crystals, ores, weapons, manuals, potions, poisons, etc. Everything was here. Furthermore, it was absolutely safe to trade here. Chapter 200. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but be surprised. Even something like bloody black gold could be sold on consignment. What's the difference? Yang Dingtian asked. If it's auctioned, if you're lucky, you can sell it for 80,000 gold coins, but we'll take a 10% commission. If you sell it on consignment, you can sell it for 70,000 gold coins, but we'll take a 5% commission. If you sell it to us directly, you can sell it for 60,000 gold coins. The second-level manager said. So expensive? Yang Dingtian was surprised. Wasn't it around 50,000 gold coins before? Recently, the demand for bloody black gold has increased a lot. The second-level manager said, "Which transaction would you like to make?" "I don't want to go through the trouble. I'll sell it to you directly," Yang Dingtian said. The second-level manager was overjoyed. This was because Yang Dingtian's transaction was enough to give him a commission of over 1,000 gold coins. Even the beautiful maid behind him had bright eyes. This transaction was enough to give her a commission of over 100 gold coins, which was half a year's salary. "Jinjin will accompany the honored guest here. I'll immediately go through the relevant procedures," the second-level manager said. Following this, the pretty girl called Jinjin was incomparably enthusiastic. She was completely throwing flirtatious glances at Yang Dingtian. From time to time, she would take the opportunity to rub her delicate breasts against Yang Dingtian's arm. Even though this was a business of the Tiando League, they had nothing to do with the Tiando League. They were just hired commoners. Yang Dingtian really didn't expect that he would be treated like a boss here. Soon, the second-level manager brought over a stack of thin crystal cards. There were 3 notes worth 10,000 gold coins, 5 notes worth 5,000 gold coins, and the rest were worth 1,000 gold coins. Yang Dingtian carefully examined these thin crystal cards. He found that the stripes on the cards were more complicated than the banknotes on Earth. Moreover, they had a special energy, so there was no possibility of counterfeiting them. These crystal cards were equivalent to the currency of this world. They were issued by the Tiando League. Now, Yang Dingtian had a deeper understanding of the Tiando League. If there was a political power in this world, then the Tiando League would be the highest political power in this world. Normal gold and silver coins could be produced and distributed by Cloud Sky City and other forces, but large crystal cards could only be distributed by the Tiando League. Since the Yin sect was in seclusion, the Yin-Yang school and the Black Heavens sect had the final say in the Tiando League. Therefore, Dongfang Bingling could be said to be the most powerful person in the world. After selling the bloody black gold, Yang Dingtian went to the big store. Yang Dingtian said, "Then according to your estimation, will the money I earned from auctioning this potential 8th grade beast soul elixir be enough to buy that 8th grade magic skill manual?" "It shouldn't be enough. It might be far from enough. After all, this 8th grade magic skill manual is really too precious." Su Mei carefully worded her words. Chapter 201. It shouldn't be enough, it might still be far from enough. Su Mei carefully worded her words. "It's not because your potential 8th grade beast soul elixir can't compare to this mystical skill manual. After all, your beast soul elixir still needs to be nurtured. Furthermore, with such a high-grade beast soul elixir, if used to subdue an 8th grade demonic beast and refine it into a martial spirit, there's still a high chance of failure. As for an 8th grade mystical skill manual, as long as one's mystic meridians are talented enough, one can directly learn it. It can completely allow a martial artist's cultivation to instantly increase by leaps and bounds." This woman's words were very tactful, but Yang Dingtian already understood. Wanting to use the money earned from auctioning the beast soul elixir to buy an 8th grade mystical skill manual was completely a fool's dream. Immediately, Yang Dingtian asked in his heart, "Master, is an 8th grade mystical skill manual really that powerful?" Dongfang Minmi was silent for a moment, then said, "Little Tian, do you know what grade your Devil Sky Split Lightning attribute mystical skill is?" Yang Dingtian said in his heart, "I don't know." "It's 7th grade." Dongfang Minmi said. Immediately, Yang Dingtian was shocked. That Devil Flame Saber art was actually 1 grade higher than the lightning attribute mystical skill, Devil Sky Split. Its power could be imagined. Of course, lightning attribute mystical skills are incomparably rare, so even if it's only 7th grade, the lightning attribute Devil Sky Split's value is still many times higher than the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber art. Dongfang Minmi said, "But in terms of pure power, an 8th grade mystical skill's lethality is a full 50% higher than a 7th grade mystical skill. To put it more bluntly, if an 8th grade mystical skill manual is in Cloud Heaven City, only core disciples like you and Yen Yen can learn it. Immediately, Yang Dingtian sucked in a breath of cold air. This way, the hope of bidding for the Devil Flame Saber art tomorrow was even slimmer. However, Yang Dingtian was still unwilling. He asked, "Young Lady Su, according to your estimation, what price will this Devil Flame Saber art reach in the end?" "I don't know," Su Mei said, "but I'm sure that it won't be a fight for gold coins. After the gold coins reach a certain amount, it will be completely useless. The final price increase will definitely be precious materials, secret manuals, and top-grade pills." Then, Su Mei said, "Mr. Shen, are you determined to get this 8th grade mystical skill manual?" "Yang Dingtian, I can't say that I'm determined to get it. But I really want it." "Then I have a suggestion," Su Mei said. "Go ahead," Yang Dingtian said. "The price of that secret manual must be an astronomical figure, so I must have enough gold coins to enter the final competition." Su Mei said, "According to my estimation, the number of gold coins should be around 100 million, which is equivalent to 1 year of taxes for a territory of 1,000 miles. As for your potential level 8 Beast Soul Elixir, its final auction price should be around 50 million. To be safe, it's best that you put up a treasure of equal value to the potential level 8 Beast Soul Elixir. Only then will you have enough gold coins to enter the final contest." Then, Su Mei said, "Of course there are 100 million gold coins. It's just enough to enter the final competition. I don't know how many gold coins are needed in the end." This was because there were at least 2 big shots in the Northwest continent who were determined to obtain this 8th grade Devil Flame Saber art. "That's all I can say. If I reveal any more, I'll break the rules." When these words came out, Yang Dingtian felt even more hopeless. Of course he had treasures that were more valuable than an 8th grade mystical skill manual, and more than one. In Sister Ningning's space ring, there were 3 or 4 scrolls of spiritual mystical skill manuals that were more valuable than this 8th grade Devil Flame Saber art. There were also ice attribute talismans, which were more than enough to buy 4 or 5 8th grade mystical skill manuals. Of course, this didn't mean that the ice attribute talismans were more powerful than 4 or 5 8th grade mystical skill manuals, but that ice attribute talismans were too rare. They were all left behind from ancient times. They were much rarer than mystical skill manuals. As for the value of Ah Chao's youngling sword, it was needless to say, it couldn't be measured by anything. However, Yang Dingtian couldn't take out any of these treasures to trade. Yang Dingtian even regretted taking out this potential level 8 Beast Soul Elixir for auction, because he thought it was only a 6th grade Beast Soul Elixir. He didn't know it had the potential of being an 8th grade Beast Soul Elixir. And those 8th grade spiritual mystical skill scrolls in the space ring belonged to Sister Ningning. Yang Dingtian didn't have the qualifications to sell them, and he couldn't bear to sell them. So after picking and choosing, Yang Dingtian really couldn't find any treasures that were as valuable as the potential level 8 Beast Soul Elixir. "I'll go back and take a look," Yang Dingtian said. Su Mei heard the meaning behind Yang Dingtian's words. She smiled and said, "Then are you still going to auction your potential level 8 Beast Soul Elixir?" "Of course," Yang Dingtian said. "A promise is a promise. Do you need me to leave the Beast Soul Elixir with you now?" "Of course not," Su Mei said. "You can just leave it to us before tomorrow's auction." Yang Dingtian stood up and said, "All right, see you tomorrow." "See you tomorrow, Mr. Chen." Su Mei said, "You are our most distinguished guest, so you can stay in our most distinguished room with the tightest protection. Do you need it?" Yang Dingtian's heart moved, but he still shook his head and said, "No need." This auction house belonged to the Tiando League. Staying in a Tiando League house was too restrictive and inconvenient. Then, he turned and left. Yang Dingtian left the auction house and returned to the inn. He only had 50,000 gold coins on him, so he didn't even buy the materials to cleanse his marrow and meridians. Anyway, as long as he had money, he could buy them at any time. At this moment, Yang Dingtian's heart was agitated by the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber art, so it wasn't suitable for him to cleanse his marrow and meridians. 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art. Yang Dingtian had 9 Yang Xian veins, so he could fully display the power of this mystic skill. With this mystic skill, Yang Dingtian even felt that he could kill a martial mystic realm expert. If he had learned this 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art, then he wouldn't have had such a hard time killing Qin Huaiju, who was impersonating him, on the sea, and he wouldn't have been riddled with scars. It was really tempting. Unfortunately, he could see it, but he couldn't get it. He had enough treasures to bid for it, but he couldn't touch any of these treasures. In this world, there was nothing more depressing and tangled than this. After returning to his room, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but flip through the interspatial ring to see if there was anything else he could use to trade. Moreover, he couldn't use it, and Sister Ningning couldn't use it either. Yang Dingtian injected his mental power into the interspatial ring and asked, "Master, can you take a look at this interspatial ring? Is there anything else that is extremely precious, but Sister Ningning and I can't use it?" Dongfang Minmi borrowed Yang Dingtian's eyes to flip through the interspatial ring and check the other things. After flipping through it a few times, it was still the same. He couldn't touch any of the extremely precious items. The items that he could touch were far less valuable than the potential 8th grade Beast Soul Elixir. Even the 8th grade and 9th grade Holy Spirit Elixir and Mystic Gathering Elixir couldn't be sold for more than 1,000,000. Although it was already an astronomical figure, it was still far from enough to compete for the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's gaze landed on the corner of the interspatial ring. In a pile of elixirs, there was a completely transparent elixir. Yang Dingtian flipped through the interspatial ring many times, but he couldn't find its existence because it looked completely invisible. Yang Dingtian immediately took out the invisible elixir and asked, "Master, what is this elixir? Is it a top-grade elixir?" Immediately, Dongfang Minmi cried out in surprise. "Transformation elixir." Chapter 202. Little Tian, take this transformation elixir to the auction. Everything depends on God's luck, Dongfang Minmi said. If God blesses us, it will be better if we can get the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art. Even if we can't get it, it's nothing. We can just wait for the next opportunity. Then, Dongfang Minmi sighed and said, "It's a pity that Master is no longer here. Otherwise, the Yinyang school would still have 8th grade mystic skill manuals." Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and said, "Don't worry, Master. Although this 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art is powerful, it is completely different from the Heaven and Earth Mystic Flame. As long as I can refine the Heaven and Earth Mystic Flame and cultivate the Sword Soul, this 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art will not be so important." Of course, Yang Dingtian was just comforting himself. There was still a long time before he could cultivate the Sword Soul. During this time, the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art could increase his combat power by a few levels. If he could successfully refine the Heaven and Earth Mystic Flame into his Heart Flame, the Devil Flame Saber Art would be even more powerful. It could be said that if he had the Heaven and Earth Mystic Flame, the Devil Flame Saber Art's power could be magnified many times, and the Devil Flame Saber could be reborn again. But now, Yang Dingtian really could not take out something of the same value to exchange. He could not really use the Ice Mystic Talisman to exchange. When he fought against Dongfang Bingling in the future, this Ice Mystic Talisman could play an amazing role. Moreover, the rarity of this Ice Mystic Talisman really surpassed the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art. The next morning, Yang Dingtian rushed to the auction house. Su Mei was already waiting in the VIP room. "Mr. Shen, can you find a treasure of the same value as the 8th grade Beast Soul Elixir?" Su Mei asked. After hesitating for a while, Yang Dingtian said, "Does the transformation elixir count?" "Transformation elixir?" Su Mei suddenly forgot to be reserved and exclaimed. Then, she looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. The transformation elixir could be said to be the rarest elixir in the world, and also the most difficult to refine. For a very, very long time, it was just a legendary pill. Not only was it difficult to refine, but the most important thing was that the materials required to refine it could only be found by chance. The most important ingredient for the transformation pill came from the void spirit demon. This type of pure energy demonic beast was much rarer than the lightning millennium owl. Moreover, it only existed in the void cracks at the edge of the world. Although it was called a demonic beast, it was not a living creature at all. It was a pure energy life form that did not have a physical body. To be honest, Yang Dingtian had no idea how Shimin Ningning could refine such a pill. He couldn't even imagine how Sister Ningning had managed to capture the void spirit demon. The potential rank 8 beast soul elixir was already extremely rare, but Su Mei did not lose her composure. Now that Yang Dingtian mentioned the transformation pill, she really lost her composure. If it wasn't for her professionalism, she really wanted to ask who Yang Dingtian was and why he even had a legendary pill like the transformation pill. Therefore, in terms of rarity, this transformation pill should be the most valuable item in this auction. However, rarity did not mean that it was precious. In the eyes of most people, the transformation pill was really worthless. After the shock, Su Mei smiled bitterly and said, "I'm really curious about Mr. Shen Lang now. I've been in the auction house for almost 10 years and have seen many rare and precious items, but this is the first time I've seen a transformation pill. However, I really can't estimate its value. Does Mr. Shen not have any other precious items?" Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, "I really don't have anything else." Su Mei said helplessly, "All right then, let's try using the transformation pill. However, I can only say that you shouldn't have too much hope. This transformation pill may cause a commotion, but there are almost no people who are willing to pay for it. For most people, it's completely useless. Instead, it's a disaster." Yang Dingtian said, "I'm really at my wit's end. To be honest, I don't have much hope in competing for the rank 8 Devil Flame Saber art now. I only hope that I can buy a powerful weapon." Speaking of weapons, Su Mei's expression suddenly became a little strange. "What's wrong, Miss Su?" Yang Dingtian asked. Su Mei said, "I really don't know if it's heaven's will. This morning, someone sent a weapon to the auction house, the Sky Devil Flame Saber." Yang Dingtian asked, "Is this weapon very strong?" "Very strong. It's a weapon left behind from ancient times, and its mystical chi increases by 23%. Su Mei said. It was indeed very strong. However, Yang Dingtian's youngling sword, Cho, was only a youngling sword, but its mystical chi increase had already exceeded 39%. Moreover, this Sky Devil Flame Saber did not have the primal divine sense, so it could not refine any saber soul. Su Mei said, "Of course, if it's just like that, the price of this Sky Devil Flame Saber would not exceed 3 million gold coins. However, other than the mystical chi increase of 23%, it also increases the power of Devil Flame type mystical skills by more than 30%. Ah! Yang Dingtian was completely shocked. No wonder Su Mei had a strange expression and said that it might be heaven's will. Because this Sky Devil Flame Saber and Devil Flame Saber art were completely compatible, as if they were a match made in heaven. Originally, the lethality of this 8th grade Devil Flame Saber art already exceeded that of a 7th grade mystical skill by close to 50%. Adding the Sky Devil Flame Saber's 23% mystical chi increase, and the mystical skill's power increase by more than 30%. In other words, if Yang Dingtian obtained the Devil Flame Saber art and the Sky Devil Flame Saber, then his battle power would increase by 1-fold. This number was too shocking. Su Mei said, "If there was no Devil Flame Saber art, then the price of this Sky Devil Flame Saber would not exceed 3 million gold coins. At most, it would be 5 million gold coins. However, with the Devil Flame Saber art, I don't know how high the price of this Sky Devil Flame Saber would soar." Immediately, Yang Dingtian could only fall into deep silence. Originally, it was already difficult to compete for an 8th grade Devil Flame Saber art. Now, with the addition of the sky-high price of the Sky Devil Flame Saber, it was even more uncertain. After a long time, Yang Dingtian asked, "Then what's the order of the auction?" Su Mei said, "There are a total of 5 finale treasures. Your Beast Soul Elixir, Transformation Elixir, Sky Devil Flame Saber, and Devil Flame Saber Art are all among these 5 finale items. Other than the Devil Flame Saber Art being the finale item, the order of the other 4 treasures will be decided on the spot. There were a total of 5 finale items, but Tsume only mentioned 4. There was still one that she did not mention. He did not know what treasure it was, but it was actually on par with the 8th grade Beast Soul Elixir and the 8th grade Mystical Skill Scroll. However, since Tsume did not mention it, Yang Dingtian did not need to ask. In any case, he would know during the auction later. Moreover, Yang Dingtian's attention was completely on the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art today. It was hard for him to care about other things. I would like to ask you one last time to confirm. Are you sure you want to participate in this auction with the potential 8th grade Beast Soul Elixir and Transformation Elixir? Tsume said. I am sure, Yang Dingtian said. Immediately, Tsume took out 2 ice jade boxes and opened them in front of Yang Dingtian. She said, you can place the treasures in these 2 jade boxes. During the entire auction, we will definitely not touch your treasures. Yang Dingtian immediately placed the potential 8th grade Beast Soul Elixir and Transformation Elixir into the 2 jade boxes. Then, an old man walked in from outside. In front of Yang Dingtian, he placed the 2 jade boxes in the box and took them away. We will take your treasures first. Tsume said, the person who took your treasures just now was a consecrator of a master-level expert from the Taiyando League. Therefore, you don't have to worry about any mishaps. Even if there is a mishap, we will compensate you with items that exceed the value of your treasures. The 2 treasures that Yang Dingtian called out were very precious. If they were placed in any other forces, they would not be handed over to others. However, the auction house of the Taiyando League did not matter. To them, their reputation far exceeded the value of Yang Dingtian's treasures. Then, Yang Dingtian was brought to the auction hall where the auction was held. The entire hall was very large. It was at least a few thousand square meters. However, it could only accommodate 100 people. This was because each person did not have a seat, but a private room. In order to protect the privacy of the honored guests, no one could see the faces of the guests when they called out bids. This was the highest level auction hall in the entire auction house. An auction of this level was only held once every 6 months. To enter this auction, the value of the treasures sold by the seller must not be less than 3 million gold coins. The buyer's reserve must not be less than 3 million gold coins. A force with a territory of 100 square miles might not even have 3 million gold coins in a year's taxes. In such a high-level auction, Yang Dingtian's 2 treasures were the 2nd and 4th items in the finale. Therefore, no matter how many setbacks Yang Dingtian had in this world, he would always be at the top of the pyramid. 2 hours later, Yang Dingtian was brought to a private room in the 5th row. There were a total of 10 rows of private rooms in the auction hall. Each row had 10 private rooms. Each row was higher than the other. It was like a movie theater, ensuring that everyone in the private room could clearly see the auction items on the stage. When Yang Dingtian entered the auction hall, it was completely silent. The hall was completely dark, without any light. He did not know how many people had come, or who they were. Half an hour after entering the private room, the auction hall suddenly lit up. Countless pearls, crystals, and the sunlight from the sky lit up the entire auction hall. At this moment, Yang Dingtian realized that the doors of every private room were made of special crystals. From the inside, one could see the outside, but from the outside, one could not see the inside of the private room. Therefore, everyone in the private room could clearly see the stage and the auctioneer, but they could not see the situation in the other private rooms. Soon, the auctioneer entered and walked onto the stage. Today's auctioneer was actually Tsume. At this time, she was dressed even more luxuriously. The long dress inlaid with gold silk wrapped around her body, accentuating her delicate curves. This woman's status in the auction house was not low, and even in West Prefecture City, her status was not low. It was unknown what her family background was. Without any greetings, without any opening, without any embellishment, Tsume directly announced the start of the auction. Note, brothers, please give me a few monthly tickets. After 1 or 2 years, the empty spirit profound wings would lose its effect. Therefore, it's more decorative than practical. So that was the case, no wonder. Sure enough, after the second item was called out, no one bid at first. Sume said, "Empty spirit mystic wings, starting price is 1 million gold coins, does anyone want to bid?" Still, no one called out a price. It seemed like the auction was going to fail. 5 million gold coins. Suddenly, a hoarse and seductive female voice came from room 1. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's mind swayed. This woman's voice was really seductive, full of charming magnetism. He didn't know who she was. She was actually willing to bid such a high price for an ornamental toy. Moreover, the starting price was 1 million. Basically, no one would fight for it, but she actually bid 5 million. Moreover, she was in room 1. It was obvious that she was the most distinguished person in today's auction. Guest in room 1 bid 5 million gold coins. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? 3, 2, 1. Congratulations to guest in room 1, you have obtained this precious empty spirit profound wings. Next is the third item, 6th grade demon profound core, starting price is 1 million. 2 million. 3 million. 5 million. Before Yang Dingtian could react, someone shouted out a price one after another, making Yang Dingtian stunned. Master, what is this 6th grade demon profound core for? Why are there so many people fighting for it? Yang Dingtian asked. It's used to break through to the martial mystic level. Dongfang Minmi said. Ah! Yang Dingtian exclaimed, this thing can directly break through to the martial mystic level after eating it? Of course not. Dongfang Minmi said, there are many people with limited talent. After cultivating to 9-star great mystic martial master, they can't break through to the martial mystic level. They can't break through in 2 or 3 years, even 10 years. Therefore, if they use the demon profound core at this time, there is a high chance that they can break through to the martial mystic level. Once they break through to the martial mystic level, they can cultivate to 9-star martial mystic level, which is equivalent to an expert. Therefore, it is to use money to buy the hope of becoming an expert. Of course, this thing is useless to you. You have 9 yang profound veins talent, so you can't understand the pain of those people with low talent. Immediately, Yang Dingtian smiled embarrassedly. 8 million. 8,100,000. 8,200,000. In the end, this 6th grade demon profound core was sold for 8,390,000. The person who bought this pill is equivalent to spending 8,390,000 gold coins in exchange for the possibility of becoming a 9-star martial mystic level expert. Yang Dingtian was stunned. How can this be? Such a treasure, and no one actually called out a price. Could it be that no one wants it? Please don't be like this. Yang Dingtian is relying on this 8th grade beast spirit pill to make money. Sume smiled and said, potential 8th grade beast spirit pill, is there anyone who wants to bid? Still, no one called out a price. Yang Dingtian's heart quickly turned cold. 13 million gold coins. A few seconds later, someone finally called out a price. It was VIP number 3 who had never made a bid. It was a man's voice. He should be quite young. His voice was filled with a natural sense of superiority and arrogance. Yang Dingtian's heart relaxed, but he was also slightly disappointed. This price wasn't considered much. 15 million. Immediately after, number 5 called out a price. 17 million. VIP number 12 called out. 19 million. VIP number 5 called out. 23 million. VIP number 3 called out. 25 million. VIP number 5 immediately raised the price. 28 million. VIP number 3 called out. 29 million. VIP number 5 called out. Instantly, number 3 and number 5 called out a price alternately and entered a stalemate. As the price increased, Yang Dingtian's heart was beating faster and faster. 45 million gold coins. Number 5 clenched his teeth and said. It was obvious that this price was about to reach his limit. Su Mei said before that the final auction price of Yang Dingtian's 8th grade beast spirit pill should be around 50 million gold coins. Now, 45 million gold coins should have reached the limit of this beast spirit pill's value. 48 million. VIP number 3, this superior and arrogant young man's voice was filled with anger. 49 million. Number 5's voice was trembling as he spat out this price word by word. 53 million. Number 3 called out directly with a cold and firm voice. Bang! Instantly, Yang Dingtian heard the sound of something falling to the ground from private room number 5. Young Lord Yi is really determined to get it. The middle-aged man in private room number 5 said coldly. That arrogant young man in private room number 3 was this young Lord Yi. He didn't know which sect's young lord was from, but to be able to spend such a huge price to buy a beast spirit pill, his influence must be quite big. Chapter 204. That's right. I must have this item. Young Lord Yi from room number 3 said coldly. 53 million. It was 3 million more than Su Mei's highest estimate. Yang Dingtian was rather satisfied. However, it was impossible to bid for the finale, the 8th grade mystic skill, Devil Flame Saber Art, with this price. Humph. That person from room number 5 snorted coldly. Young Lord Yi laughed heartily and said, Mr. Zhua, if you are unwilling, you can always increase the price. I will accompany you anytime. I can also tell you that I must have the finale, the 8th grade mystic skill, Devil Flame Saber Art. I have prepared double the price and am waiting here. Yang Dingtian's heart shuddered. Crazy. Not only did young Lord Yi bid 53 million for the 8th grade beast soul elixir, but he also prepared 100 million gold coins to buy the 8th grade Devil Flame Saber Art. Yang Dingtian basically had no hope for this Devil Flame Saber Art. Su Mei smiled faintly and said, Young Lord Yi bid 53 million for this potential 8th grade beast soul elixir. Is there anyone who is willing to bid higher? If not, then this 8th grade beast soul elixir will belong to young Lord Yi. 3, 2, 1. Su Mei was about to drop the hammer. 60 million. Someone actually increased the price to 60 million. This voice was the hoarse, magnetic, and charming voice that Yang Dingtian had been looking forward to. It came from that lady from room number 1. Young Lord Ye's laughter stopped abruptly. He was so arrogant and should be angry with words. However, he didn't. He seemed to be fearful of that lady from room number 1. Is there anyone who bid more than 60 million gold coins? Su Mei asked. Her beautiful eyes couldn't help but look at Yang Dingtian. She didn't expect this potential 8th grade beast soul elixir to be bid at 60 million, 63 million. Young Lord Ye's voice was trembling slightly. 70 million. The woman in the first private room directly called out the price, and it was completely understated. Madam Qin, must you fight with me? Young Lord Yi said, you probably don't need this potential 8th grade beast soul elixir anymore. Yang Dingtian was flabbergasted. This woman with a charming voice was actually addressed as Madam Qin. Was her surname Qin, or did she marry someone from the northwest Qin city? However, no matter what the situation was, there was no doubt that she was related to the northwest Qin city. It was because she was able to sit in the most distinguished private room, number 1. Moreover, she possessed an astonishing amount of wealth. The northwest Qin city was the number 1 force in the entire northwest continent. What they said was unquestionable. That was why she had such a status. Hearing young Lord Ye's question, that Madam Qin said lazily, can't I buy it as a gift? Instantly, That young Lord Yi was about to explode from anger as he said coldly, "This is my last bid. If Madame Qin is willing to exceed this price, then take it away." 75 million. Young Lord Yi slammed the table and yelled. It seemed like he really needed this potential grade 8 beast soul elixir. Moreover, 75 million yuan was the highest price he could offer. Furthermore, his meaning was very clear. This was his highest bid, and he wouldn't raise it by a single gold coin. If Mrs. Qin wanted to give her a way out, then she would be the one to ruin it. In an instant, a few private rooms' doors opened. It seemed like the auction had reached the most confrontational stage. Many people didn't intend to conceal their identities and offered themselves up. Everyone looked towards the number 1 private room to see if she was going to raise the price. Yang Dingtian also looked towards the number 1 private room. Her voice was so alluring, and he wondered how she looked like. However, Yang Dingtian didn't have much hope for her to raise the price. This grade 8 beast soul elixir wasn't useful to her. She was only raising the price because she was unhappy with that young Lord Yi, 80 million gold coins. Madame Qin still spoke lazily and hoarsely as though she didn't care that she had bid an astronomical price and bought a treasure that she couldn't use. Instantly, everyone took a deep breath of cold air. This method of stepping on others was too extravagant. Yang Dingtian also didn't dare to believe that the people from the northwest Qin city were too arrogant and extravagant. Bang! The door of the number 3 private room was suddenly kicked open. Yang Dingtian saw a handsome face that was almost distorted. This should be young Lord Yi. He was wearing a purple robe with golden threads, and every part of his body was emitting a noble and arrogant aura. He was so angry that his face was almost distorted. He threw a teacup on the ground and gritted his teeth to raise the price. However, an old man at the side pulled him back and said indifferently, "Don't fight based on personal feelings. The key is the devil flame saber art." When young Lord Yi heard this, he gradually calmed down and sneered, "All right, this grade 8 beast soul elixir is for you. Buy it and have fun." Immediately after, young Lord Yi looked at everyone with arrogance and said, "I will be straightforward. I didn't buy the beast soul elixir, so I will put all my gold coins on the devil flame saber art. You can estimate how much gold coins you have. It's up to you if you want to snatch it from me." From his words, he was determined to get the grade 8 devil flame saber art. Yang Dingtian did some calculations and realized that this young Lord Yi had prepared close to 200 million gold coins for the 8th grade devil flame saber art. Furthermore, it was just the gold coins and didn't include the treasures that would be used to increase the price. It was simply too crazy. Yang Dingtian still had some hope for the grade 8 devil flame saber art. Now, he didn't have any hope at all. "Chief Beigong, do you also want this sky devil flame saber?" "I don't think it will be of much use to you," young Lord Yi said. His voice might be respectful, but it wasn't from the bottom of his heart. "I prepared it for my son." Chief Beigong smiled faintly and said, "Therefore, I have offended young Lord Yi." Young Lord Ye's face instantly turned cold as he snorted. It seemed like there was another heavyweight in the competition for the devil flame saber art. Chief Beigong. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but ask in his heart, "Master, which sect is Chief Beigong and young Lord Yi from? Why are they so rich?" Dongfang Minmi said, "This young Lord Yi should be the son of the White Cloud City Lord. The White Cloud City is located at the westernmost part of the northwest continent and is ranked 19th among the 27 sections." Yang Dingtian said, "Ranked 19th among the 27 sections. They are indeed a hegemon. However, they don't have the qualifications to be so arrogant and act so eccentric in front of the northwest Qin city." Dongfang Minmi said, "The White Cloud City itself is nothing, but it has a huge backer." "What backer?" Yang Dingtian asked. "Mystic Heaven Sect." Dongfang Minmi said, "The younger sister of the White Cloud City Lord. She is unparalleled in beauty and is the third wife of Zhu Qingzhu. No wonder this young Lord Yi was so arrogant. He was in-laws with the mystic Heavens sect and naturally had an imposing aura. Dongfang Minmi continued, this chief Beigong is called Beigong Ju and is the chief of the mystic underworld gang. This mystic underworld gang isn't in the 3 sects, 9 clans, and 27 sects. However, this Beigong Ju has astonishing talent and was already a master-class expert 10 years ago. A master-class expert. He wasn't in the 3 sects, 9 clans, and 27 sects, but he actually cultivated to the master class. It was simply too shocking. 70 million gold coins. Young Lord Yi said coldly. 73 million. Beigong Ju yelled out the price, but he was already hesitating. This Beigong Ju might have astonishing talent, but his mystic underworld gang's wealth was far from the White Cloud City. With their 300-mile territory, they wouldn't be able to collect so much money even if they collected taxes for half their lives. 80 million gold coins. Young Lord Yi said arrogantly and looked at Beigong Ju in the second private room. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.